Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of After Dark. We are back once again after being off for a week last week. Some personal issues came up for some different people in the crew, and we ended up having to just take the week off at the last minute. But we are back once again this week. Bit of a small show, small crew, but we are coming at you with all the latest in the world of movie news. Before I introduce those who are with me, I will put out a bit of a disclaimer. This episode is made up of news that was announced last week for the show that we ended up canceling, as well as news that came out earlier this week. However, for the sheer sake of the show, I had to cut off at Thursday. So anything that was announced for the most part Thursday or later will be addressed in next week's episode as we look to kind of take a bit of a mess week and kind of get ourselves back on track. And we'll go around now and introduce the different members that are with us. Alan, if you can hear me, just give me a signal and then I'll pull you in. You can. Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead first and go to Mr. Matt Beer. What is up?
Oh, nothing much. Just, gambling and winning tons of money, living a high life. And then, of course, going into cryptocurrency, going into some coins like CumRocket, which is a real thing. Look it up. It's a real coin. It's real. And also, Carol Baskins has a coin as well, which is doing pretty good.
I want the next Dogecoin to be CumRocket. Jesus.
Yeah, CumRocket.
We're also joined by Mr. Malcolm Lay. Malcolm, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. Just ready to talk about stuff.
And we are joined, as I'm bringing in, by Alan Shepard, Dr. Person.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. There's a little bit of an echo, but we can hear you.
Echo. That's weird. Is it still echo?
Just when we talk.
Just when we talk. That's great. Excellent. All right. Aloha, everybody. It's good to see you. Malcolm, good to see you, brother. I ain't seen you in a while. Last time I saw you, you were beating my ass with incredibly difficult questions on the Sunday Classic.
All right. Yes. So
we got it. I figured it out. I clicked the echo cancellation. We're good.
Oh, perfect. This is why I'm glad we like tech. Also, Grant, again, okay, he's already gone. Guys, we're having all sorts of fun issues, so you are going to see some live on-air handling of those issues. We also have a lack of preparation. As you guys can tell, I am much better lit because there's literally a lamp right here, but I am in a hotel room right now, desperately hoping somebody doesn't knock on the door at some point. But because of that, I didn't have a chance to prep videos or make this look professional in any kind of way, but simply we are just going to be reading out some of the news, getting into some of these discussions, man. And as the title says, we'll talk about Filoni ruling the world in just a minute, but there was some big merger news that's come out over the last 2 weeks, so we'll go ahead and get into that first, which is let's cold read this. All right. Amazon is currently working on one of two major mergers happening in Hollywood. As at the time they were in negotiations, and now it has recently been said that they have finalized a purchase of MGM Studios, and they are looking to merge it with their current film studio, Amazon Studios, which is responsible for their streaming service, Amazon Prime Video. By purchasing MGM, Amazon is not only given ownership over two major film franchises owned by MGM in James Bond and the Rocky franchise, but they also own other major entities that are produced by MGM, including television series Survivor and Shark Tank, as well as the Hulu and FX hits The Handmaid's Tale and Fargo. The company apparently offered upwards of the $6 billion bid that was put in by both Apple and Comcast in an attempt to own MGM, with the rumored number being $8.45 billion. If the purchase going through gives Amazon access to 5,200 titles owned by MGM dating all the way back to the 30s, which can be added to their streaming service in due time, including 12 Best Picture winners. As more updates come as to how this will affect Amazon Studios and the merger, we will report it. Following this announcement in an interview with Variety, James Bond lead producer Barbara Broccoli confirmed that she'd apparently already held talks with Amazon Studios CEO Jennifer Salke about the future of Bond. Broccoli said that Amazon had committed to keeping all Bond projects, including the nearly 2 years delayed No Time to Die, as theatrical releases. Amazon has a history of releasing films to theaters for full-wide releases, but in recent times has moved to making indie projects day-and-date releases to both Prime and theaters if the theater will accept it. And this was happening in 2019, even before COVID. However, it seems that all fears have been put to bed as they see Bond as their blockbuster franchise now, and all entries, including Daniel Craig's swan song, will go to theaters, even if it means it has to be moved again. In other major Hollywood shakeup news, after only purchasing them in 2018 and finalizing the cash in 2018, AT&T confirmed that they were in talks to sell Time Warner, which would lead to a merger. The company at hand up for the purchase is Discovery, which have offered up a currently unknown amount, but was enough to make board members meet last Sunday with the company to discuss the merger. The merger would see the service HBO Max potentially receive access to programs owned by Discovery, including channels like TLC, Animal Planet, OWN, the Food Network, and HGTV. Discovery's own service, Discovery Plus, would either fold into HBO Max or would continue while receiving special different kinds of produced content from Warner and HBO. The merger would see Discovery CEO David Zaslav take over head control of the company, but Snyderverse fans don't get too excited because he's already come out and said publicly that Warner Media CEO Jason Kilar would be keeping their roles, as he will be keeping his job, as he is tasked to handle all direct-to-consumer products, which means streaming, and that Ann Sarnoff and Toby Emmerich will retain their roles within Warner Brothers Pictures. There was also a rumor that AT&T could see a massive loss from this sale. They purchased Time Warner for $85 billion in 2016. The deal would be completed in Q2 of 2022 if it goes through, but for only $43 billion. Legal reps from all three companies have refused official comment, though sources from inside Warner Media say that they were only informed of the potential sale once the media had reported it, and that AT&T were apparently looking to sell up from under them. Following that announcement, Warner Brothers, which had to continue business as usual, signed a admittedly pretty great deal in that Robert Pattinson has signed a first-look deal as producer and actor with the studio. Pattinson has received recent success in major Warner Brother projects, including Tenet, which was a success, all things considered, and the upcoming Batman. The deal means that any ideas that Pattinson has for a film or any project in the works that he wants to put his name behind as producer and star will immediately be given a streamlined path to production through Warner Brothers. This is big as Pattinson, who was hurt in post-Twilight days, has become a bit of a big name in the indie world and is slowly rising back to blockbuster status. So there's never a better time to start producing and picking your own projects. All right, so you guys heard everything, right? There were no issues?
I had to leave for a moment because, a brother decided to throw a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on my sister's boyfriend's car. So I had to figure out what was going on with that. That's why I left. So I didn't hear the beginning of it. I will say, I do apologize for that. But the Pattinson stuff, I like that. Robert Pattinson has shown that he is still a really good actor, one of the better actors out there today, maybe, especially around his age range. I hope that, especially once the Batman comes out, next year, even though it could come out this year. I don't know why we're delaying it a whole year when you could release it in October this year, but whatever.
I think at this point, it's so that the post team doesn't feel rushed.
I mean, it's been done film. I mean, it finished filming for how long now? Like a couple months?
No,
it's not like
only a month or less. It was only recently finished filming.
I mean, it's not like an Avengers movie or anything. It's going to be more like an indie for superhero stuff. So, I mean, they could get it done.
Probably, but I agree with you. I could see them potentially moving it up if they think it'll make money.
Right.
I think what they'll probably do is they'll keep it at that March date until the movie is completely in the can, and then if they think they can make more money, they'll move it, because then at that point, let's say whatever's happening does take the post team longer, they don't feel any pressure to have to keep up with a new date.
Right. Say it could have been a Halloween type of, release too, but whatever. But
which
anyway,
it was originally, right? When it was
I think it was in October.
2020 or 2021 film. I think it was.
Yeah, it was October 2021, I think. But still, I mean, hopefully though, after this movie comes out, and I mean, I'll be shocked if it's not any good. People who always have he's the Twilight guy, that whole thing will go away completely, and then he can finally be looked at by everybody as the actor that he is. And I think that's starting to happen, but you still have those Twilight peoples. I don't know what that was about, but whatever. But no, I think it's good. I just got the first look deal, and then I'm just going to assume the studios that you're talking about. So the Warner Brothers, or Warner Media, I should say, and Discovery merger, I like it because I think AT&T wasn't the best fit for running a movie studio. You know what I mean? I think they've had some pretty big misses when owning Warner Media. I think, doing the Snyder Cut, that was a good decision to pull because I think that honestly did really, really well. And I think it's starting to come out that, yeah, it actually did real well. Could be wrong, but I believe that was said. So that's like one good hit for them.
Sorry?
Oh, I think, now after, especially with the overseas and the U.S. numbers, it looks like it's actually been a bigger hit than what was said to be believed at first. So, okay, that's a good thing for AT&T. Good job for AT&T. But still, I mean, they've had some misses. And the fact that they sold it or whatever to Discovery for what, $45 billion when they paid $88 billion or something like that. They paid like $80-something billion for Warner Media.
It's a over 50% loss in terms of just sale price. It's an over 50% drop.
Yeah, I think that alone shows that we definitely weren't the right fit, or this was not the right company to take a hold of.
Oh, Alan's back.
I can hear you.
Wait.
I can hear you.
Wait, can you hear us, Grant?
We just hear Grant.
I can hear. Can everyone hear me? Because I can hear you guys.
We can hear you.
I can hear Grant.
We can all hear each other. Other.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
Technology has reached to such heights. We can hear each other.
I don't even have a cord plugged in. It's crazy.
Well, you got to unplug sometime, brother.
Right. But to get back to the Warner thing, though, I think Discovery is a good fit for them because, like you have all the people that do their shows, like the Fixer Upper people, have their show on there, and all the other people that do their like home owning, rebuilding, cook, whatever Discovery does. Everybody that has a show on there has been like, yeah, Discovery is really, really good when it comes to allowing us to have the creative freedom. So it sounds like Discovery is a really good fit when it comes to allowing creators to do what they want. I think AT&T was a little more, they were a little more of a, we're going to hold your hand and we're going to walk you through it.
And I apologize if I'm repeating what you just said. If I am cutting you off, I'm trying to do producer stuff on the side as well. I didn't include it in it just for the sake of quoting can sometimes get boring, but when asked about it, Jason, I believe it was Jason Kaler, said he was asked about the merger and he didn't confirm it technically, probably because he's not allowed to. But what he did say is, as an executive, I'm somebody who believes in if somebody comes to you with a fully fledged artistic vision and you believe in them enough to greenlight it, allow them to execute that vision, or it was something to that effect. And it seemed like it was kind of a little bit of a shot at what Warner's been doing recently. And especially, we know that obviously Christopher Nolan has publicly come out and said, I don't want to work with Warner anymore because of how they treated directors. We know Denis Villeneuve is absolutely up in arms about the release that Dune's getting now and how he wasn't even contacted. And multiple other people have spoken out about the lack of just general awareness or consideration for these creators that put so much time into their content. And it basically says to a point, look, this is about money for us. What it does, one of the positives I think that does come from this is I think now more than ever, I think this day and date release will end after 2021.
Absolutely. Now, I will say, and I thought I read this pretty soon after the merger thing was announced or released. It was in the news. Dune is getting a theatrical release only.
Cut for time, but yes.
Yeah, that's what was said. So that's obviously good. That's going to make Denny very happy. because he wants his movie in theaters only, and that's really how it should be seen, just like A Quiet Place and some of these other movies. This is that type of movie I believe that should be on the big screen, especially if you can see it like IMAX.
Especially Dune. Dune's not something that you want to watch on your phone. It's definitely, you don't want to watch, the Lord of the Rings trilogy on your phone. It's something that's supposed to be grand and epic.
Absolutely. So I think that's good, but so I think this merger is a really good thing for the creatives, and I do agree. This is the last year we're going to have the day and date release, which would be cool. I've still went to a theater to see these movies, so really, I mean, it didn't affect me. Theater's still been getting the movies, so that's how I see it. Now with the MGM Amazon thing, I like this if we can still have all their movies in theaters, and that's what it sounds like it's going to be. Still, we're going to have, like, obviously James Bond's a theatrical thing, like you said, and we're going to have some others.
And out of all the streaming studios since their conception, Amazon has been the most forward about putting their films in theaters. Even so much as, like, back in they were one of the first streaming studios to get major awards consideration. And part of the reason was because movies like Manchester by the Sea a few years ago got a full-on theatrical release. You'd never know this was a streaming film because it was in theaters. And I mean, they're really leading the way on that. And even like a couple of years ago, they took 3 of their films. Was The Goldfinch, The Report with Adam Driver, and The Aeronauts. I think it was like Felicity Jones was in it and somebody else.
Oh yeah.
And they took that, and all 3 of those films, they were worried about their box office performance, and so they put them to VOD. But they reached out to all the theater chains and said, if anybody's willing to want to put these in theaters to make something off of them, we'll still let you. But just know we are going to put it to. And some chains did accept. Like, they didn't go to like AMC or anywhere like that, but they didn't go to theaters. So they're very theater forward, even if they're a streaming company.
And
Amazon, they were trying to be international. I think that was their main push, because not everyone had access to their platform, but they still wanted people to see their movies. I mean, with the whole merger, I thought you had like monopoly laws over there. I mean, I'm pretty sure this would have to be pretty much encroaching on that. It'd be getting pretty bloody close.
Well, I don't think it does, just because MGM, I don't think, is considered one of the like top studios like a Sony, Disney, those.
They have historical significance.
Yeah.
But in terms of the modern day business structure, they're no longer considered top tier.
Yeah. Now, if, Amazon decided to buy like Sony or Paramount, then I think you would start to get into the monopoly situation.
Like, to give you an idea, in terms of their, like, outside of Bond and the Creed films recently, they don't have a blockbuster franchise that's consistently performing. So like this is the equivalent of like if like Amazon picked up like an A24 or an Annapurna Pictures, but MGM just have historical significance, so you're more likely to know their name than you are an Annapurna Pictures. But they're putting out the same types of films, really. And they don't even have, which is one thing that was interesting, they don't even have full share of James Bond. There's another studio that's involved with that. I just don't know the specifics offhand.
Yeah, and plus I think MGM, it's like Amazon buying them, it's almost like Disney buying like Lucasfilm or, Marvel.
The truth is, if Disney got away with Fox, I think all bets are off in the U.S. right now.
Right. True. And I don't think MGM really even owns like any significant companies or any companies in general. They might own like a couple little tiny things, but it's not like they, own a few other companies. So,
well, I mean, if you don't include the blockbuster hit of Tom and Jerry, I mean, then maybe they don't own.
That's true. Tom and Jerry is a.
They don't even have Tom and Jerry anymore.
Movie.
That's Warner.
That's Warner now, yeah.
But my point is, I think with the Amazon...
MGM's on the much worse 90s film. That's their fault.
Yeah, true. But with the MGM purchase, I think it's good for them because now this is going to give them even more money for some of the movies they want to make. Amazon can supply more money. So if they have some ideas, this will, at least in the financial sense, get them closer to actually making some of those things more realistic. They don't have to, cut budgets because, I mean, look, Amazon owns the United States essentially, and they own the world. We're gonna have statues on everybody's lawn of Jeff Bezos. That's eventually
Jeff
gonna happen.
Bezos will be our next president.
He will be the next president. The Rock and
Jeff
Bezos are running.
Yep. It'll be Jeff Bezos with that Amazon logo as his head.
Right. Yeah, and then all he'll have to say is, "Look, I built up Amazon. What else do you need to know?"
Right.
And anybody like, "Well,
I changed the way you purchase."
I was gonna say, just so we can move on soon. Matt and I have had a good back and forth here, but Alan, Malcolm, and we are finally, after ages, joined by Grant, who is coming to us from the same Phantom Zone Maddie's lived in for 6 months. What do you guys think?
I'll be honest with you. I'm a Prime guy. I've been watching a lot of things on Amazon Prime. So the idea of them getting a new, host of films from the MGM catalog, that's actually pretty cool. I recently did a deep dive of Wes Anderson's stuff. So all the ones on Amazon Prime, I rewatched those. So I'm excited. When these mergers happen, you always want, how's it going to benefit me, the average person who, takes in content. And if they're getting the MGM catalog and a bunch of catalogs from that company, then that's the better for me as a watcher, especially with a lot of the classic movies. You said they're getting a lot of classic stuff from the 30s.
Which I will.
I'd like to check that stuff out.
Which I think is exactly why the price got driven so high. Because, as it said, both Apple and Comcast went in and they were matching around a $6 billion figure, which is still a lot of money to throw around. But, Amazon came in with just under $9 billion. And I think that's because Amazon has a streaming service that, it's probably, I'd say, third, at least internationally.
That people watch.
It has to be one of the top ones internationally because so many are.
Amazon is number one internationally. Amazon is by far number one with its total amount of users.
Thank you. Yeah. So
cool.
Also, Bezos has get fucked money, like in the ultimate sense. Like
what?
He could buy Disney tomorrow, run it into the ground worse than the two Bobs did, and still be no worse. Still no worse off financially. I mean, $1 trillion company. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, he has a bigger GDP than 90% of the countries in the world. If anyone's going to make it work, it's going to be him. But also, the fact of the matter is, Bezos was pretty much the driving force behind getting The Expanse back after sci-fi did what sci-fi does best, and destroying something at its peak. He's a dreamer. So I think if anyone can make it work, it's him.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. Like, I think to an extent, I think he does have a respect for film. I think you have to you're a guy who's delivering products around the world, and you just it's what Grant said. Like, dude has get fucked money. He just woke up one morning and went, I'm a film studio, and made one, and then produced an Oscar winner, and has been going ever since. So legitimately, I think that's probably why you go after someone like MGM, because in the modern sense, they're not an A-list studio, but look at that pedigree. The entire James Bond franchise, the Rocky franchise, the classic films like The Wizard of Oz, and 12 Best Picture winners, that's pedigree right there. And that's not counting the countless television they've produced, all the other films we can't even think of. That line's face has been on a lot of things over the years, and now Amazon's put its stamp on it. That's big for them.
Bezos probably has that line skeleton somewhere around. He can afford it.
Yeah.
So.
True.
Probably.
Now, I will say...
Final thoughts. I'll go to you once more, Matt, after that. But Malcolm, go ahead.
This is... one of those ones like Amazon buying MGM is interesting because it's one of those ones that it means on a lot of places I don't know about anyone else, but for me personally in New Zealand, the James Bond series are not easy to come by on streaming services. So with the fact that they're going to probably be put on there along with the Rocky franchise is going to be good because that kind of will make them easier to sort of see and do like a marathon rather than having to rush out and find the DVDs.
Yeah, because it's expensive as hell to try and find the box sets.
For Bond, especially at 20, is it 24 films?
25. Oh, technically 24 available. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, No Time to Die, I think it's the 25th. But yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, I was just looking up. I was actually just looking up streaming services by the numbers anyway. Netflix is still the number one worldwide, but not by much. And Amazon Prime is really close. Like, Netflix has 208 million subscribers. Amazon Prime has 175. So they are very close. And I think part of the reason Amazon Prime is really high up is because of their partnership with Twitch. It just everyone has a Twitch account, and everyone who has a Twitch account, I think, has Amazon Prime. Because
Are you serious? Oh wow, I didn't even know that.
Well, because like it's one of those ones.
Man, Bezos really does have get fucked money.
With Amazon Prime, you can actually do watch parties on Twitch, and like you can't, and it's, but yeah,
that's brilliant. Okay.
But it's one of those ones. And as for the Warner Media side of things, this is the one that is really more interesting because, from what I believe, Discovery has its own streaming service. So it's going to be interesting to see if they merge together or if they stay separate, but have bundle deals like what Hulu, Disney, and all that did.
I want to say this, Aaron. We were on Unlisted.
Are we really?
Yeah.
Oh, well,
so now I moved it to public. So now we'll have people in the show.
That explains why I was getting texted.
Because I looked and I was like, oh, we have 0. Okay, let me check. And I was like,
Unlisted.
I'll be too
and the boomer of the stream award goes to Maddie.
To be fair, the link is over a week old technically. So
True. It could have gotten in. So now we are live.
And on that, I actually got to jump as we're going live with people watching. I got to break out.
They can catch you in the replay. They can catch you on the replay.
Exactly. Catch you on the replay. And it's good to see y'all, Grant. Good to hear you. Because, I got love for you, brother.
Good to see you.
Good. Yes, I'm hoping you can see me. I can't see you, but I feel you, bro. I feel you. And Malcolm, hopefully I'll be on the classic. Sometimes you can whoop my ass with your hard-ass questions because you're the man. All right. And hey, Ron, I'll see you later. Matt, I'll see you in a couple days.
Yes, sir.
Because I got to plug our show. Cancel this show. Now that people are live, they can watch that show whenever it comes out. And hopefully we'll get more than 5 viewers. All right.
I think we had like 6 or whatever.
So, was that what you were jumping in with, or do you have one more comment about this?
No, I do have one more comment.
I'll go real quick. Hollywood Reporter on the 15th of April reported that over 200 million subscribers Amazon has, and they're growing at a rate of approximately 35 million per month. So they reckon by the financial year they'll pass the 300 million. So,
Jesus,
that's crazy.
Man, no wonder Bezos walked away from heading the company. He's getting residual checks out the anus. Yep. Go ahead, Matt. Last thoughts, and we'll move on.
So I'll just say this. As a physical media collector, I hope we still get the MGM Classic collection that's coming out. I know Sony put out the Columbia Classics collection, which I have up there. It's too high, so I can't reach it and show without standing up, and I'm not going to stand up today. But, it has some classics like Lawrence of Arabia. Has Dr. Strangelove, Gandhi, Mr. Smith Goes Watching, yada, yada, yada. We have somebody on watch the show. Anyway, I hope that Amazon doesn't say, nope, we're not going to release it. Sorry. And they left. We're not going to release it. Sorry. So that's my last comment.
I feel like they will, only because the sales of that through Amazon.com will be just that much. That is what they'll do. They'll make it only available through Amazon.com.
Yeah. We'll start going the video game route, exclusives.
Bezos won't get rid of physical media because everyone uses Amazon to deliver it. He's a very physical media sort of person. And the fact of the matter is, you've got to get the physical media because then they can't change it. They can't delete
Sure.
scenes or do ad libs over the top like Disney Plus has done with so many different things now. So
Right.
yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I'm interested for the first time in a while in some news. I'm actually interested.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and move on, guys. So the next segment will be focusing on over the last, again, we're talking week and a half because I cut it off at Thursday. We had a number of trailers come out, like just a never-ending fuckload of trailers come out. I realized after the fact, I've seen 11 of them. Or 9 of them, depending on how many I left in. I haven't seen all of them. I missed one. But everyone here has at least seen every trailer here, I hope, on the panel. So I'm going to read through them one by one, and we'll kind of just discuss as we go for the next little bit. So the first trailer here is Netflix stepped up with the first trailer for The Ice Road. In it, Liam Neeson and Lawrence Fishburne lead a group of ice road truckers who attempt to save miners from a collapsed diamond mine in Canada before the ice collapses beneath them and they all die. With loved ones inside, the stakes get personal for the team. The movie will hit Netflix on June 25th, 2021. All right, so has anyone here besides me seen this trailer?
Which one is it? Sorry.
The Ice Road.
No, I have not.
That's the Liam Neeson one, yeah.
I
Malcolm,
haven't seen it.
No, it just sounds like Cold Pursuit 2.
No, I mean this is so funny because the guy who actually wrote it, his name is like freaking like Hensley or something, and it's on ice. I'm like, Slay Ice, that's funny, because it's sliding everywhere. So, that's literally the only reason why I did it, is because I thought there would be some comedy material out of it. But it looks drab. It doesn't look like it's going to be a fun movie.
No, it's as Liam Neeson has said, it's one of the last action movies he'll do because he, like most of us, is getting sick of Liam Neeson doing action films. And yeah, it's like some mix between like a drama and an action film, because like they do establish like, no, what they have to do is very urgent because these people are in serious danger. Like there will be a lot of deaths if these guys don't get done what they need to get done. But then there's like them on an ice bridge and the car starts skidding and it looks like Fast and Furious for 30 seconds. And I'm like, this is such a weird, like the only reason I'd watch this is because Liam Neeson and Lawrence Fishburne look like they have good chemistry together, which I'd hope they do because they're good actors. But yeah, it was a very bland trailer. That's what I'll say. It was very bland.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those ones. I think Liam Neeson's stepping for action because, I don't think it's so much he's getting sick of it. I think it's because he's getting really old and can't be as physical as he can. Because he's almost 70 years old.
Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yeah, he's 69 years old already, I think, or he's just about turning it. Yeah, I think.
Yeah. So, all right. So we'll move on. Next up is Amazon's contribution to the trailer barrage with The Tomorrow War. Chris Pratt stars as Dan Forrester, an ex-military man who is called back into action when a group of soldiers from the future, led by J.K. Simmons, arrive looking for recruits to aid them. Humanity is losing the fight against an alien invasion, and the future team believes that soldiers and tactics from the past will be enough to disarm the aliens and win. The ensemble of soldiers includes Yvonne Stravosky, Betty Gilpin, Sam Richardson, and Edwin Hodge, as well as Army of the Dead co-star Theo Von. The Amazon movie hits on July 2nd. So this is the one I didn't get to see. For some reason, I thought I'd seen it because I had the write-up in front of me, and then I was like, no, I took that shit from online. I actually have not seen this trailer. So has anybody here seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Oh, please, go ahead, Grant.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me a little bit of Netflix's Annihilation with the graphics and the blue and the wobbly sort of stuff. Essentially, a bunch of people, they get recruited. It's like the militaristic sort of world, it seems, and they get recruited to this future war. And there's clearly division, and that it just seems like it's. I don't know why, but it kind of had a really similar vibe to me to Starship Group. That sort of style of film. You don't really see much because what I saw was only a 30, 35, 40-second sort of thing. Chris Pratt looked like Chris Pratt, but he didn't sound or act like Chris Pratt. So,
okay.
It could be interesting. You said J.K. Simmons was in it. I don't even remember him in the trailer. So he probably was, but I don't even remember him in the trailer. So
Yeah, he's third build, and from what I could gather, again, just kind of gathering the plot synopsis, I believe he's the leader of the future soldiers that's sent back to recruit.
Yeah.
I'm interested in this movie simply because it's one of the latest trends that's happened, and it began with Pixar directors of animation directors moving into live action. This is the live action debut of Chris McKay, who is best known for directing the Lego Batman movie, which I really liked. And so that kind of excites me just to kind of see how he does with transitioning, because we've seen both, successes like Brad Bird with Mission Impossible, and we've seen, and I don't want to call John Carter a failure, but like Andrew Stanton doing John Carter, I wouldn't call it a success either. So
I wouldn't call it John Carter either. So
fair enough, but so we've seen kind of both ends of it already. So I'm very curious to see where this falls. And then the plot synopsis in and of itself kind of reminded me of Edge of Tomorrow, where it's like this alien fighting the inevitable, like, oh my God, we're going to lose. What's the extreme tactic to win? And whereas instead of in that movie, it's Tom Cruise dying over and over and over again, with this, it's, well, let's go get people from the past to help us in the future. So again, I haven't seen the trailer. I'm probably going to watch it right after the show, but the concept sounds interesting just from reading it, and Grant's description, he seemed to like the trailer enough. So hopefully it turns out good. Amazon doesn't pump out shit at the rate that Netflix does, so my hope is that them purchasing it means they believe it's a good film. Because they don't tend to pump out crap the same way Netflix does. Netflix will literally buy somebody's shit and release it, and they don't care as long as they get views.
So I do want to pull this up real quick, Chris. That was not a YouTube problem. That was we were silly and didn't realize we were unlisted when we went live problem.
Yeah, no, that's on us.
That's why you didn't see the first half of the show. Because we were silly.
It's not you. It's not you. It was us. All right, so let's keep it going. The third trailer that I have here is, and by the way, these are all in release date order, just in case somebody's wondering what order they're coming in. So following that, Netflix dropped the first trailer for its new blockbuster, Gunpowder Milkshake. The movie, which seems to be an action scene they've picked up in the vein of recent hits like The Old Guard and Extraction, and carries a similar tone to John Wick, showcases a team-up of a sisterhood of female assassins working together to end a cycle of violence over the course of one night. The film stars Karen Gillan, Lena Headey, Angela Bassett, Michelle Yeoh, Carla Gugino, Paul Giamatti, and newcomer Chloe Coleman, and will be released on July 14th, 2021. All right, so
this trailer, wow. No, I didn't even know it was out. I have not seen it. I haven't even heard of it.
Okay,
so leave it to you fellas.
Yeah, so this is a movie that came on my radar a few weeks ago doing After Dark research. When it was announced that after it screened at a festival that happened digitally, they picked it up. And that immediately caught my eye, because I was like, okay, so this got screened at a festival, so somebody had faith in it somewhere, and it got picked up. Clearly, even if it's by Netflix, it got picked up. This trailer is very entertaining. Like, female John Wick is kind of a great way to describe it. Basically, it's the newcomer girl I listed at the end is the daughter of Karen Gillan, who is the daughter of Lena Headey. And Karen Gillan, it seems like, has killed some people who worked for Paul Giamatti, who's playing Paul Giamatti, a mob boss with a vague accent. And basically they turn to some of Lena Headey's kind of old friends, which are this sisterhood of assassins with Michelle Yeoh and Carla Gugino. And the action in it is very John Wick-esque, but with that bubblegum pop feel to it. It's much quicker paced. It's not like this heavy gruesomeness. It's fun. I really liked it. I was a fan of the trailer. The concept looks good. It's a directorial debut. The person who directed it has it's their first film. So again, I that's always weary, but I'm hoping this one turns out good, because Netflix has been doing a good job with their action films recently. Even if they're not like top caliber films, they're fun to watch. So I'm hoping it's at least that. Matt, Malcolm, either of you guys see this?
I have not, but I have a good Paul Giamatti impression. Hey, it's me, Paul Giamatti. Oh, I was the Rhino. It's Paul Giamatti.
Yeah,
Tell
that's
you what,
kind
if
of
I
all.
wasn't
He's
looking at my
great at
screen, I would have thought for sure that was him. Like, that's uncanny.
I was in the NW A or whatever movie. Yeah, Ice Cube Son. Yeah, I played the
All right, Malcolm, did
manager.
you see what the fuck is it called? Milkshake Gunpowder or Gunpowder Milkshake? You see it?
No, from what I've heard from people talking about it, it's basically John Wick with from a female point of view.
Yeah.
So
Which,
Jan Wick.
to be fair, the last time he did that, Atomic Blonde was good, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. The third trailer in the list, as I scroll down, or fourth, excuse me. Fourth up is Escape Room Tournament of Champions. The sequel sees director Adam Robitel return alongside stars Taylor Russell and Logan Miller. This time, while on their way to confront the Minos Corporation, the two find themselves locked already into a new game. Although this time, instead of the sole survivor being instead of the competitors being sole survivors of tragic events, the game players are all former champs. Robitel has stated they wanted to take this approach with a sequel to add a more dramatic and trauma-related element to the film. We'll get to see if that's true when it releases on July 16th, 2021. All right, so who here has seen this trailer?
I have.
Grant?
No, I haven't seen it, mate.
All right, and Beer? No?
Sorry, I was distracted. What's the trailer?
But
You better be making money, man. You better be making money.
Look, I am.
Escape Room 2.
Oh, no. God, no.
Okay, Malcolm, I'll let you go first.
but I really enjoyed the first Escape Room. Like, it was one of those movies which I was really surprised about when I saw it, because I didn't know what to expect. Like, oh yeah, it's a Saw type movie. It's going to go one or two ways. It's going to be really bad. It's going to be really fun. It was really fun. This trailer looks like they're ramping it up, and the fact that they're bringing in former winners as well of escape rooms that we never actually saw. It's going to be really interesting to sort of see these new characters who have already sort of survived once. But just like Honda, there can only be one.
Yeah, absolutely. I saw
Sorry,
the first.
I dropped out. What are we still on the escape room, or have we moved on?
Yeah.
No, we're still in Escape Room. I'm about to finish
Okay.
up. So I did see the first Escape Room. I thought it was fine. Like I'd agree with Malcolm. It's like if you're looking for something that's fun, it's certainly a fun horror film. But it's nothing special. It's certainly better than Robitel's first film, which was one of the bad Insidious sequels. I forget which one, but he directed one of the bad ones. So it was better than that at the very least. But yeah, this looks fine. Like, it looks probably like it'll be as fine as the first one. I do have to say the first set piece with the electric bolts shooting through the metal on the train, that looks incredibly fucking cool. Like, it looks really, really cool. And the first one did have an aesthetic appeal to it. That was one of the things I liked. Like, everything looked cool and fun, but obviously if you're dying, it's not that much fun. But yeah, this one looks like it'll probably be in the same ballpark. It'll be a fun horror movie that, like, if you're, especially because it's PG-13, I believe. So, like, if you're a teenager with some friends, or you had a group of buddies you've been out drinking with, and like this is what you want to go see, like, it'll be fun. But it's not going to be cinema masterpiece. You know, I'm very curious what these dramatic and trauma related elements are, because if I were you, I would not be wanting to add trauma to my fun horror film, and that's the truth. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next one. Which is Snake Eyes, a G.I. Joe origin. The minute-long teaser gives us our first look at the origin story, which, if successful, will serve as the first in a rebooted G.I. Joe franchise. The trailer gives us mostly quick glimpses and shots, and establishes Henry Golding as a young Snake Eyes, beginning his journey from gun for hire to silent assassin the fans recognize. Alongside Golding, the movie will co-star Iko Uwais, Andrew Koji, Samara Weaving, and Ursula Corbero, with the last three playing recognizable Joe characters: Storm Shadow, Scarlet, and the Baroness. Robin Schwenke directs the film, which will release into theaters on July 23rd, 2021. All right, so I assume this is one of the ones that most people have seen.
Yeah, do I go on my rant now, or do I let you guys talk first and then go on my rant?
What do the other people say? Rant or no rant?
I mean, do we have a graphic that's ready for Grant's rants?
I wish I did.
As we call
We
them.
probably should. You know what, Grant? Go ahead. I'll give you some time. Go ahead.
Okay, I don't know who the character is. It's not Snake Eyes. There's nothing about it. They've mentioned a couple of characters. They're gender swapping a character for no reason, which doesn't make any sense. This seems like you've got so much lore and so much character, so much story, but they're gonna go with a completely new and brand new direction and just make something up, not even adapting anything. It's just like, oh, come on. When you've got 40 years of something here like that that's ready to go, people have been craving for that. And then you have him on and he's very pretty looking and he's not disfigured at all. He wears a mask for a reason. He always wore a mask for a reason. He didn't start off as something else and then turn into this. He was always disfigured. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's just like we've got so much good source material with it, and there's so many exciting stories. Yeah, they're just going to go with something that's a modernized take on the current political and social situation, which is awesome. That's exactly what I want to do when I go to forget about the world's problems. Go and watch something that reminds me all about the world's problems.
Listen, I don't think that was only a minute long, so I wouldn't call it a rant.
No, I tempered myself because we started a bit later with that and everything, and we still might be at that stage where if I start dropping F-bombs too many quick, we'll just get our stream cut off. So
no, listen, you make some very valid points. As someone who's not a hardcore G.I. Joe fan, stuff like that doesn't affect me, but like it's the same thing with every franchise when they do this. If you're a fan of something and you understand the history, nobody wants to see you just chuck it out a window. Malcolm, Matt, who wants to go next?
Matt,
you're muted. You are muted. Malcolm, go ahead. Then Matt.
Yeah. I mean, I talked about this on Late Night Tape 3 last week.
Yes, we did. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not familiar with Snake Eyes or the G.I. Joe franchise. I do not know anything about it. This looks fine. I'm probably going to watch it if I'm bored or got something or nothing else that I want to see. But yeah.
Matt.
Okay, so I did not realize it was muted. I do apologize for that. Anyway, I remember watching Henry Golding's interview. So, I know Grant, you're going to be upset that they're not going in the traditional G.I. Joe way, but he did say this is going to be a complete reboot, not just of Snake Eyes character, but G.I. Joe in general. So, look, a lot of the people are going to see this movie, probably never watched the show. You got a lot of the, teens that are like, oh, cool action movie. That are going to go see this that probably have never even heard of G.I. Joe before this one. Now, I understand a lot of the fans that watched it are going to be upset because it is different from it. But, who knows? Maybe we'll get to a point where he wears the mask only. Maybe, they're building up to that or something. I don't know. Probably not, because you got Henry Golding. He's a great actor, or I should say really good actor. He's not great yet. Given some really good performances. Ladies like looking at him, so you might as well show his face, at least in the first movie. And really, we have no idea what this is, going to be about. I mean, obviously Snake Eyes, but we saw 30 seconds? We saw an action scene and then some like quick montages of the movie. To me, the trailers, it was fine, but that's just because I really don't know what we're getting into. And it's like, cool, the action looks like it could be fun, but, we'll see.
All right, I'll re-preface a statement. I was going more off the backstory and everything else after looking into it. The trailer itself seemed fine. The fact that he's this handsome-looking bloke, it is annoying, but I completely understand why he wants his face on screen. Not everyone can put aside that, like someone like a Carl Urban, who did it for Dredd and everything. Like, you're not going to get a lot of actors who are willing to commit that way. So I completely understand it from his point of view. And if he was the one that pushed for it and they went, yeah, we're going to do it, then I don't like it, but that's fine. I just think that if you're going to take a character whose main thing is he's mysterious, you don't know who's underneath it, you only know of circumstance. It's really odd that we're going to get all that shown before he turns into the character that everyone knows him as. So I don't want to see a story about what Joker was when he was a 4-year-old. You know, I only care about the Joker as he was, as the Joker. So,
I mean, as long as it's a good movie. I mean, you could have Snake Eyes as a 4-year-old. I don't care. As long as it's a good movie.
Really
that's all I care about. Like, I mean, heck, if they wanted Snake Eyes to just be in a mask, they could have came to me. I would have played Snake Eyes. I would have my face in the mask the entire time. I'm not appealing to the movie screen.
No, Matt, we're past the
yeah,
phase.
you have my respect for that, Matt. I appreciate
that was the last one.
True.
All right, but no, the trailer itself, everything that you said about it looked like fun. I think it looked fine. If I didn't know about this character or anything, I would be saying the same thing. So basing it on the trailer, it's fine.
Yeah, I do agree with you in that. Like, as somebody who at the very least knows that Snake Eyes is a silent character, when this was a film that got announced, I immediately went like, really? Out of all the characters, that's the one. I mean, I get that, like, iconography-wise, he's probably the most recognizable to non-fans. I know people consider him the coolest part of the last 2 abominations of films that they made. Like, I get it, but also, like, it just seems like a weird route. Part of me wonders, depending on how willing they are to, like, stick to certain things, because they do tease the helmet at the end of the trailer. Part of me wonders if, like, they stuck Henry Golding, who is a hot commodity right now. Everything he's in is making money. So they took a hot commodity, took him in the lead role. Part of me wonders if they'll have the restraint to, like, put the helmet on him at the end of the film and we never see Golding again. It's just the stunt man doing it from there on out. Like, I wonder if they just want him for this one movie to help it make money, and then we're done. I wonder if they
go full Mando with it.
Potentially, yeah. I wonder if they'd have the self-restraint. I think the mask being off is a studio thing, just certainly because right now Henry Golding is a hot commodity to people. He's done both action or, like, light action, because The Gentleman had light action in it, but he's done light action. He's done rom-coms. Like, he is a recognizable face that people know and will go to the movie just for him. So I could totally see it being a studio note. Like, no, we need a lot of that pretty face.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I'm going to add is, like, for all we know, the trailer could be a misdirect, and he is, like, it is him in the mask the whole movie, but, like, it's going to show flashbacks and stuff.
Could be.
So I mean, like, and I mean, it's definitely not the first time that the trailer has been a misdirect from what the movie's actually going to be. I mean, look at a lot of the Marvel trailers. I mean, you had Hulk in full Hulk mode in the Infinity War trailer when he wasn't.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that's a deliberate misdirect. But I mean, like, Rob Schwenke, or Schwenk, whatever his name, I always call him Schwenke, the director. I mean, he's done plenty of misdirects in it. Like, when you saw the trailer for R.I.P.D., you actually thought it was going to be a good movie. So I mean, he's really good at doing misdirects in his trailers.
That was going to be my last point before we move on. Is when I brought this up on a late night last week with Malcolm. My concern with this movie has nothing to do with the trailer. The trailer looks fine. It's the director, Robin Schwenk. From what I can gather, his German films have received good reviews. Since he's moved to America, he's made Red, R.I.P.D., and the Divergent sequels, and that's not a filmography that gives me confidence.
Is his last name Schwenke?
Schwenke.
Schwenke.
SCHWENT.
That's why I said I call him Schwenke. No, but I don't know if any of you have seen Tattoo. That's a phenomenal film that he did. So.
Yeah. So like I said, maybe it's just American translation. Maybe he's not good with action. Maybe he's learned after 4 films how to make a good movie. God, we can only hope. Because
can he teach Ryan Johnson then?
Say that again.
Ryan Johnson's a wonderful director. Please don't slander him.
Can he teach Ryan Johnson to be able to do a good blockbuster then, if that's the case?
Ryan Johnson's made great blockbusters. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Ryan Johnson.
I don't accept
Ryan
slander.
Johnson's rolling in Netflix money. He doesn't care at this point.
Yeah, that's true. He's got fuck me money. So yeah, that's fair enough.
True.
That is true.
He deserves it.
Jeff Bezos are having a stripper dollar orgy right now. So let's go ahead and move on. to a trailer that is certainly fitting for following that statement. But next up is Hotel Transylvania Transformania, the fourth and supposedly final film in the Hotel Transylvania series. The movie sees the monster cast turned upside down after a monsterfication ray goes haywire and turns Andy Samberg's Johnny into a monster and turns all the monsters into humans. Alongside Samberg, a bulk of the franchise's ensemble returns, including Selena Gomez, Catherine Hahn, Jim Gaffigan, Steve Buscemi, David Spade, and Keegan-Michael Key. However, three major players from the previous films are not returning. Director Genndy Tartakovsky, actor Mel Brooks, and star Adam Sandler, who has been replaced by voice actor Brian Hull. The movie will compete with Snake Eyes when it opens on July 23rd, 2021. And since I wrote that, as far as I'm aware, it's also come out that Kevin James, the fat guy, he's not back either. He voiced Frankenstein in the other films, but apparently he's not back either.
Aaron.
Did anyone see this trailer aside from me?
I did. We're not going to go past the fat shaming, Aaron. The fat guy, Kevin.
The fattest guy on camera said it. It's okay.
Well, actually, here's the thing. You also have another actor in the film who is known as the fat guy. He's also a very funny man, Jim Gaffigan. He's in it, so he's also known as the fat guy. So, because he's in it, I'll at least watch part of it. I haven't seen the trailer because I didn't even know there was 4 of them. So
yes,
but there are.
And honestly, Gaffigan and Hahn, they joined in the third film.
Yeah.
As somebody who's actually seen all 3 of these, they were actually good additions. I liked them in the third film. I thought they were entertaining. Look, I knew that Sandler wasn't in the film when I saw the trailer. I'd heard it already. But damn, if that guy's not a dead ringer, like, I think that was a great choice, getting a real professional voice actor to come in and do the voice, because if you didn't know it, you wouldn't believe that that's not Sandler. He really does do a good job of nailing it. And quite frankly, unfortunately with voice acting, emotional connection between characters is half the acting and half the animation. So it's not like not having Sandler there can ruin anything with his familial relationship. I do think Mel Brooks is a loss, the fact that he's not back, because I thought his bit character was funny in the last ones.
Which studio is doing this one?
This is Sony.
It's still Sony. Still
Sony, okay. I wasn't too sure because with the buying and with everything going on, different things, I didn't know if it switched or.
No one with a name to it, just Sony Animation.
And look, this is Brian's biggest movie by far, because he's been in Pup Star, Better Together, because 2 and together. Puppy Star Christmas. He's also doing Marmaduke, playing somebody named Guy. I didn't even know there was a Marmaduke movie.
Brian Hull. Is he in it? Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, he's the one that's replaced Sandler. They've brought him in to replace Sandler.
Because I've known him from doing like voice impressions. That's all I've known of him from.
And apparently, so I haven't seen it personally because I go to AMC, but apparently they produced an animated short that they sold to Cinemark, and it's been playing in front of all their kids' films, and they put Brian Hull in it as a trial when they first heard that Sandler might not want to come back.
I think it was in front of the Emoji Movie.
In that short film.
I think that was in front of the Emoji Movie. Because I kind of remember seeing that short, because it's the one with the big dog or whatever.
It's been playing recently, so unless they brought it back out again and it's older, I don't know.
Just to get people maybe used to the voice or whatever, that could be.
So I'll bring this up because it's a good point, right? Talking about Spider-Verse and Mitchell's versus the Machines. So it's all technically Sony Pictures Animation, but the films that Lord and Miller are producing and writing for them are actually being done by a totally separate animation team. They're being produced through and distributed by Sony Animation, and I'm sure they're allowed to have access to their workers if they need them. But in terms of physical animation that's being done, it's a totally different studio, and anybody being brought in. So like for Mitchell's versus the Machines, it was 2 of the gentlemen that worked on Gravity Falls. They were vetted by Lord and Miller first before they took over. So that's kind of totally separate. As for the rest of Sony's films, they're pretty hit or miss. They're one of those like to average studios, but like the Hotel Transylvania films to me have been like You know, are you gonna love them? Probably not. Will they make your kids dumber? No, it's fine. They're not gonna hurt you, but you'll get through it.
Yeah, I thought the third one was okay.
I thought it got better. The second one got worse, and the third one got better again.
I do agree with that, and I have to support the fourth one because Jim Gaffigan's in it, Indiana guy, so I have to support it due to him being from Indiana.
He's a good comedian.
Yeah,
if it makes you feel better, as somebody who's actually seen the Playmobil movie, he was probably the best part of that film.
See, now I have to watch that movie. Like, you could have just said, that he was not in it. Now I have to watch it because I have to support him.
Yeah, honestly, it's not as bad as you. It could have been worse. It could have been Norm of the North. Like, that's what I was expecting.
That's true.
Go ahead, Malcolm, before we move on.
You can't get worse by Norm of the North, but
Arctic Dogs try.
As someone who actually enjoyed the first two Hotel Transylvania movies, I haven't actually seen the third one yet. But the trailer looks good. I mean, it's one of those ones that Adam Sandler not voicing Drac is going to be interesting to see if. Because I was actually reading up to see if there's if Adam Sandler has commented on why he wasn't coming back. Yeah, but I haven't. All I've seen is nothing concrete yet. But I mean, it's surprising me that he's not even Adam Sandler's not even producing the movie as well. But I thought he would have still produced it, even though it's not actually going to be in the movie.
Mm-hmm. But maybe he's doing another 18 Netflix movies.
Well, I mean, if he's producing the movie, then I mean, he doesn't have to do anything. All he does have to give money, and then
his name's just not on it.
But in the article I was reading that had an interview with the creators of it, and they said that this storyline of the fact that monsters are transforming into human, and that is kind of gave them a way to be creative and handle Sandler's exit, because they sort of said Dracula as a human may not act the same as what Dracula would be like. So Sandler's exit kind of helped us with this kind of story. So
kind of like what they were going to do with the Shrek donkey thing when Donkey turned into the horse. They actually voiced. They actually got different.
It's a very similar concept.
Okay, yep. No, I understand. So they're doing that. I literally just saw the trailer. So, because I'm not knowing anything of the series, I only watched 10 minutes of the second one. I'm like, I can't watch this. But no. So maybe because I agree with what Malcolm was saying. I think because with them bringing another person in and the character changing, you can have a voice change even if it's not quite the same. A bit of it. So yeah, I think that's a smarter way of doing it. I hope that's not the reason why they made the whole movie, because they couldn't get him on there. So they went, shit, what are we going to do? Let's do Freaky Friday on them.
I think they're always planning a fourth movie. Because I remember hearing about it shortly after the third one came out. But apparently, this is supposed to be the last one in the series too.
So I believe, if I remember reading, this is partially the last one because they lost both Tartakovsky and Sandler. So they figure we're not going to get them back. The reason it got made is because the third one cost them $80 million and they made just under 530. These movies make money.
Yeah. And I do want to throw something out there because I was looking up the Jim Gaffigan thing, so I want to see what else he was in. He's in, and I didn't notice, he's in Luca coming up for Disney Plus.
Yes, he's playing Luca's father.
And then he's also in the new Peter Pan Wendy thing. He's playing Shmi.
Who's he in that?
He's playing Shmi.
Oh, that's kind of perfect, actually.
Yeah, I love that.
Is that the David Lowery one? Is that what that is?
There is. Okay. Hopkins played the perfect Shmi. No one's going to change my mind on that. He was Shmi personified. Gaffigan's too tall. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, he was good. Yeah. I'm not.
They also had Glenn Close in Dragon. That.
Yeah. That's
cool. So, all right, let's move on to the next trailer. Wow, that was a more lively discussion of Hotel Transylvania than I thought we'd ever have. All right. Next up is the first full look at Respect. Arrives nearly a year after the original teaser. Academy Award winner Jennifer Hudson portrays soul singer Aretha Franklin in a film based on her rise to stardom. The film co-stars Forrest Whitaker, Marlon Wayans, Mark Maron, and Mary J. Blige, and will look to receive Oscar acclaim when it releases on August 13th, 2021.
Haven't seen it.
Anyone else on this?
I mean, I think it's miscast. I think Mary J. Blige could have been. I think it's the other way around. I mean, Hudson, she's a phenomenal performer, great singer. Obviously Oscar winner. Also Idol
She's
winner.
one of the few redeemable things in Cats. That's you
haven't seen the Butthole edition, so you can't talk.
True.
So,
I'm waiting for it.
But yeah, no, I think you get Mary J. Blige because I think she's just. I mean, maybe I'm biased because I actually like her music, but I just think she would have been a better fit. But I haven't seen the trailer.
It's probably an age thing. It's probably an age thing.
I mean, like I have seen the trailer for Respect, and I actually think Jennifer Hudson is perfect casting for Aretha Franklin. I mean, because like it's one of those ones like. I was this is one of those trailers I watched, but I was doing other things, so I wasn't always on the video. And just listen, but just listen to music. I like it. She sounds like not a clone of Aretha Franklin, but she sounds quite like Aretha Franklin, like especially with singing and that. So I'm definitely down for this. This is definitely going to be one of those ones that are going to come out later in the year. It's one of those ones that they're definitely going to be pushing for Oscars and stuff. And
absolutely.
And with the eligibility rules going back to normal, so for next year's Oscars, it's only going to be a 10-month window. So it's definitely a smaller window before it goes back to normal next year. So.
I mean, and the fact that she sung that to win her Idol thing as well. So that, I mean, she has a deep connection with the character, and I get it. I'm coming from a biased person who likes someone else's music better. That's all I'm coming from. But you know, she's phenomenal.
I get that.
So,
yeah, no, absolutely. I saw the trailer for it. I liked it. Initially, I was a little worried because Oscar films coming out in August is one of those, okay. But, the Oscars are becoming a little more forgiving for the release window. Over the last few years, we've seen more and more. It's not just you had to come out in November or December to get nominated, but also Malcolm does make a great point. The fact that it's only a 10-month release window now, it actually, that does kind of say a lot because I think a lot of your big, I think I'm a heavy hitter, have already hit those December and November dates. So you got to get creative. August could be a great space for money too, kind of the tail end of the summer, people kind of settling in to start heading towards that fall movie season. It could be a nice little opening for money because I think that's the week after Suicide Squad. So you might be getting people who after the blockbuster summer are looking for something else just right in that window. But it could definitely work, yeah. And I like the trailer. I thought it was really well done. I like Forrest Whitaker as like a mentor, producer type person. Marlon Wayans is playing her first husband, which I was kind of surprised. I didn't even realize it was him at first because first he doesn't really do dramatic roles, so I'm not really looking for him. But I'm interested to see how he does.
I think that
Did you say Mark Maron's in it?
Marlon Wayans.
Marlon Wayans.
Okay.
I think this is his. I'll just look at his filmography, but I think this is his first serious role he's ever done. So, because I was the same. Like, I had no idea he was in it until I looked up the cast list to find out who was in it. Like, and saw his name. I was like, hang on, really?
Yeah, it's a rather. Again, I'm hoping it's good, man.
As much as Requiem would be his first one, I'd assume.
What movie?
Requiem for a Dream would be his first series movie.
Oh, yeah, he was.
I didn't even know he was in that.
Yeah.
What do you mean? That's comedy, is it not?
No, it's not a comedy. Definitely not.
But I mean, this will be the
Ellen
first series.
Burstyn didn't make you laugh.
I mean, this will be the first serious movie that I've actually known he was.
Yeah.
Because, but I mean, this is
Drug addiction's funny. What do you mean?
I mean, the last movie he was in before this was On the Rocks. Then before that was the Netflix movie. There was a big hit, Sex Supplements. So,
You know what?
Oh,
That
did
movie
you
was
have
still better than that stupid Groundhog Day version movie that he did, where he woke up naked in the elevator. Oh my god, that was
I preferred
naked. That's the one I'm thinking of, right? Where he's like
Oh.
fuck naked in an elevator.
I preferred Naked over Sex Supplements myself.
yeah, me too. Absolutely. See, there we go. That's how bad that movie was.
I mean,
Well, you know what? Then?
It was-
Marlon Wayne's first dramatic role in 21 years. Still something, right?
yeah,
And he's good in Requiem for a Dream. He doesn't look like he's a step out of beat in that film. Like,
No, I mean because he's a vampire, he doesn't freaking age.
that's true. Him and his kids look like they could be the same age, which is horrifying. I've stopped figuring out which ones are brothers and which ones are kids, except that they have a junior. Like, I know Damon Wayne's junior because he's got a junior, and that's
Chris actually brings up something in the chat because he says that On the Rocks was actually a kind of a serious role for him.
what was On the Rocks.
This is
The
the Bill Murray and
Bill Murray movie that was on Apple TV.
Oh, the one he did with Coppola.
I think so, Rashida Jones or whatever her name
Oh, well,
is.
Coppola's known for his comedy.
No, his daughter, not Frances. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure.
never mind then. Yeah.
I mean, Francis Ford Coppola did Jack, so.
When's the last time Francis Ford Coppola made a movie? And was it good?
I think
I don't know. I mean, you name one member of his family that does shitty movies. That last name is Coppola, not Cage.
True.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know. Willy's Wonderland was a great film, cinematic masterpiece.
Yes.
I mean, you can argue the last movie that Francis Ford Coppola did was the coda cut of Godfather Part 3.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, you're right. You got me on that one.
That's true. Okay.
Those 8.5 minutes were fucking worth sitting through that shit again.
Oh shit. All right. What's the next trailer? Jesus. Okay. All right. So, eighth up is Dear Evan Hansen, based on the Broadway hit play from Pasek and Paul, the music writers of La La Land and The Greatest Showman. Actors Ben Platt and Colton Ryan reprised their roles as Evan Hansen, played by Platt, a teen with social anxiety who has a self-written positivity note stolen by Connor Murphy, portrayed by Ryan, a loner student who later commits suicide. After Murphy's passing, the stolen note is found and is assumed to have been written to Evan by Connor's family, who are inspired, believing their son had no one. Thus, Evan is thrust into the past of a boy he didn't know and a story he never thought he'd be a part of. Alongside the two play stars, the movie co-stars Caitlin Dever, Amanda Stenberg, Danny Pino, Julianne Moore, and Amy Adams. It is directed by Steven Chbosky, best known for The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and will release on September 24th, 2021.
I wonder if Danny Pino is going to play a typical Italian character because he has never done that.
Say that again for me?
Anything. So I'm wondering if Danny Pino is going to play the typical Italian-American character like he's never played in any other role ever.
Actually, I don't know. He might be a father, maybe? I don't know. Let me see.
I'd be old enough. I mean, I haven't seen him in anything major since he was in SVU. So.
Yeah, I believe he's playing the father of Evan Hansen.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean,
No. He's playing the father of the kid who died. He's playing the father of the kid who died.
Yeah.
Not everything's going to be a Hamilton, but then again, technically Hamilton wasn't really a movie, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know.
So, has anyone else here seen the trailer for that?
Yeah.
No, I didn't even know it existed.
Okay.
Drop
So,
the ball, guys.
Matt, I'll let you go first since it's been a minute. Go ahead.
I didn't really care for the trailer.
Fair
You know,
enough.
I didn't really care about it. You know, for one, just based on what the movie's about, just knowing the synopsis, I could give two shits about the lead because he's a dick. Because we're gonna play along with the whole, oh yeah, your dead son totally wrote this, so I'm gonna come up with this fake thing. He's kind of a piece of shit, and you know, Yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah, it's like
I mean,
it's
spoilers.
doing
Come on.
It's in the
doing
trailer.
it's doing that trope that a lot of different projects have done, where it's like you're doing an awful thing by way of thinking it's good natured. Like the family assumes that
Yeah.
the note is from their son, and they assume their son had a friend, and like he doesn't get to clear it up immediately. So at a certain point, it's like, well, why would I clear it up when they're using this as a way to move on? Maybe I'm doing a good thing, and then it gets out of hand. What I'm saying is, it's a story I've seen before.
Yeah.
Whether or not the music's
it
good,
pays all that, but on a dramatic form.
and Chris, I'm sure it is a lot more complicated than that. I see your comments. But the fact of the matter is, at least me, I don't know anything about the stage show. And when you try looking up a synopsis of the stage show, at least on like easy places like Wikipedia, there actually isn't a plot synopsis.
Yeah.
So I can't tell you what it's really about. But what I can say is, as somebody who's just approaching the trailer from the point of view of the trailer, it looks like a story I've seen before. Maybe the movie can help it portray it in a more complex light. Obviously, I'm not going to judge a movie off a trailer. I thought the trailer was fine. I don't get the controversy that spawned from it of like, oh my God, Ben Platt looks so much older than her. First off, a quick Google search will tell you they're both over 18 and she's like 25. She just looks really young. Secondly, Ben Platt with 2007 Michael Cera hair is not helping him. If he just had a normal haircut, he would not look that old. Whoever made that aesthetic choice, I don't know if that's from the play or if that's something somebody chose. That was a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I have faith in the movie. I really, really like Perks of Being a Wallflower. I wasn't as big a fan of Wonder. I thought that movie was a lot more like Perks of Being a Wallflower was a movie that genuinely touched your emotions, whereas Wonder felt like it was trying to be emotionally manipulative.
Yeah.
And those are two different things. But it was well directed and well acted. So I feel like this will at least be that. It's just a matter of, on an emotional level, how well does it hit you? I have faith in the songs being good. It's Pasek and Paul. Everything they've done in film so far has been good. Like I'd say, even I found this out a couple of months ago. I rewatched Trolls before I watched Trolls 2, and probably the only decent original song written for Trolls was actually a song they contributed to the soundtrack. I did not even know they wrote for that movie, but they contributed a song to the soundtrack.
I just watched the trailer with mute on. I thought it was an SNL parody. It looks like, without the sound on, you think it literally legitimately looks like, I'm like, oh my God, it's like Steve Jimmy coming in. Hey, young kids, what's going on? Sort of thing, you know? Holy crap.
But I mean,
Go ahead, Malcolm.
But Aaron, you said that you tried to look up synopsis, and you don't know what the movie's about. I can tell you what it's about. It's about a guy called Devin Hansen.
Yeah.
Malcolm, please don't give away too much of the plot for people who haven't seen it. That's a bit too in depth.
It's a bit too much. So Malcolm,
apparently the trailer gave too much away. I did not understand what the movie was about because from the trailer.
Yeah, maybe
it's like the opposite of a Terminator trailer. They don't give away anything.
Like maybe as somebody, like if you're somebody who's watching this who's seen the show, maybe it maybe to those people it gave too much away. As somebody who knows nothing about the show, I didn't feel like too much was given away. I mean, sure, you see like a progressive plot of it, but you're not getting the details of it. Like every time they show you a level of plot progression, it all relates back to the one lie, right? It's not actually like, sure, you see hints that he could hook up with Caitlin Dever and Amanda Stenberg calls him a dickhead and like whatever else happens. But it's like, you're not actually getting the details of the scenes. You're just seeing a lot of scenes. And to me, that's not an issue because I honestly didn't get much out of the plot except for the parents of the dead kid. A kid kills himself. The parents believe that this guy may have been their son's only friend, and he goes along with it, and he gets caught out, which liar revealed is one of the biggest tropes in film. So to me, that's not a spoiler because most films who do this plot line end that way. Sorry, go ahead before we wrap this up.
And I mean, the other thing I was going to say is the other thing I got from this trailer. It sounds like it's going to be a very similar to a 13 Reasons Why type storyline.
Hopefully happier. I don't need to see slit wrists.
I
mean, actually, if they could deal without the broom raping in the toilets, that would also be good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
okay. It's 13 Reasons Why with music.
I mean, I'm probably going to see this because it's a musical. I love musicals.
Yeah.
And it's one that I've heard a lot of people raving about. But because I live in New Zealand, I'm probably the furthest away from Broadway than anyone here. I'm never going to be able to get to the musical until America gets their handle on COVID or things or vaccinations and stuff. And until they decide to open up flights over there, but it's one of those ones. I mean, but I wish they found a new way, gave Ben Platt as Evan a different kind of look to make him at least look younger.
Is he? If you just look at pictures of him, even with facial hair, he's really not that old looking. Like they fucked up.
Yeah, because he looks like Steve Buscemi in that one thing.
Yeah,
hello, fellow kids.
They fucked up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those ones that, like Caitlin Dever is one of those ones.
She was
that,
great.
Oh yeah, I had no idea. Like she was so close to Ben Platt's age. If no one had actually mentioned that.
Yeah, no, they're really not. They're like 2 or 3 years apart. They're really not that far apart.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those. I'm one of those ones that I don't care about how old someone is if they're trying to portray a kid at school or college or that. Because I mean, like, look at Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, and they got their Was Spider-Man. They were not. They were double age. I think they were about double the age I really should have been. So.
Yeah, but that's the difference.
So I don't know how old they were at the time of filming. He's 27, she's 24. So yeah, there's really not that much between them.
No. And look, I mean, you can be older and look like a high school student still. I mean, look at me. I'm 48, and I look a lot younger than I am.
Yeah, you look like 30.
You're actually 48.
I am actually 48.
That will be the biggest surprise since finding out Amaru's in his 30s.
I'm actually 48.
Okay. All right. You keep doing that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can believe me.
And to answer your question before we move on, Mr. Diaz, it doesn't fucking matter if she can sing. They can dub her. They did it in The Greatest Showman. They'll do it again. All right, guys. Let's go ahead and move on to the next trailer. Or Malcolm, I saw your look. Did you have one more thing?
Well, I was actually going to comment on that too. I mean, I know, like, I've argued with people about this before, but for me, when it comes to musicals, I don't care if you get a professional singer to play the role or you get an actress singing. Because for me, one thing that takes me out of musicals sometimes is when you get people who are really good singers, but their characters are ones that shouldn't be able to sing that good. They just randomly start singing. So, I mean, that doesn't bother me. I mean, I loved La La Land, and I mean, Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, they really can't sing that well, but I loved it for that
the
reason.
songs were written to fit there too. Like City of Stars is written to fit a voice like Gosling. It's like what he can work with, you write it to fit that.
This is a pre-existing musical, and fitting someone else in that peg is completely different. Yeah.
Listen, again, knowing nothing about the play, I'm sure she has an incredible solo. You can't fuck up worse than Cats, where they gave Jennifer Hudson her big memory song, and then they mixed it so poorly that the music is louder than her vocals. Like, it's not even her vocals are bad, it's just the music's too loud. You can't fucking listen that.
The modern Lion King then.
I mean, Cats had a lot more issues going with it than bad singing and mixing.
Listen. When I knew Cats was like, when you're sitting in the theater, you're just taking it in. And I knew that movie was just terrible when I left, and I looked at my brother, and the first thing I said was, I think Jason Derulo was a highlight. That's how you know you probably didn't make a good film, if he's your standout. And I stand by that.
He actually
he's
said
one of the best parts of that film.
He actually said they thought it was going to be the next La La Land.
You poor. Okay. Next up is Edgar Wright makes his long-awaited return to cinemas with the debut trailer for Last Night in Soho. Eloise is a young woman with a passion for fashion design and a secret power who finds herself trapped transported back to the 1960s. She wakes up in the body of Sandy, an aspiring actress, and while wanting to live a fun life in the 60s London, she discovers past and present are falling apart with horrifying consequences. Wright's first feature since Baby Driver stars Thomasin McKenzie, Anya Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, and Terrence Stamp, and will drop in theaters on October 22nd. So this was the last trailer I watched right before we went live, and holy shit, this is impressive. This looks really good. Yeah, it's so creative. It's so visually imaginative. I have no clue what is happening. Like, even with a plot synopsis, I have no clue what is actually happening in that trailer. This movie looks great. Has anybody else seen the trailer?
Yeah, I have.
Okay. Was it Malcolm? You said you seen it too?
Yeah.
And Grant, yes or no?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So Malcolm, go ahead.
First off, Russell Crowe's a professional singer. He was in a band, singer. So he is a great singer.
He's a great singer. See, Chris, don't slander him in the chat.
No slander against Kerry actors in the chat.
Yes.
That's what this is about. Okay.
Talking about Kerry actors.
Speaking of Kiwi actors, isn't Thomasin McKenzie from down there?
That's
down under.
This trailer looks really crazy.
I'm
looking up to see if this guy's good at singing.
Go ahead, Malcolm.
last time I saw it just looked like a really fun trailer. Edgar Wright has been one of those ones which he could do anything at this point and it will be great. I really love Baby Driver, which is the last one. I think this is his first sort of straight up horror movie because he did Shaun of the Dead, which is horror comedy, but I think this is his first straight up horror. So
there's no laughs to be found in this one. Matt, did you not know he played the Phantom?
But yeah.
Oh my God.
There's so much happening.
He's a beautiful singer.
There's so much. There's so much happening in this. There's so much happening.
Brought to you by the leather pants legend Joel Schumacher. Go ahead.
But yeah, this looks like a really crazy trailer. And I can't wait to see this full movie just to find out what it's about because I really did not get anything from this trailer, which I'm actually happy about, to be honest.
Yeah, I had read and put the notes together for the plot synopsis before I'd seen the trailer, and that still didn't help. Like, I was like, what is happening in this? So, man, Matt, thoughts on it?
Sorry. His vocals are like bringing tears to my eyes. It's beautiful.
Can I just say, Phantom of the Opera is one of the few musicals that got like two bang average singers to be its lead. Like, neither Gerard Butler or Emmy Rossum stand out in any which kind of way, but they led that film to its mediocre content. Go ahead, Matt.
Chester, I thought you were talking about the international play, and we were about to have a few words. So that's all right.
Go ahead. You good?
First off, that was beautiful. He's a great singer. Don't slander him either. Gerard Butler, we love you as a singer. You're a phenomenal actor too, and like Geostorm and some of these other movies. I
Oh,
can't
come
remember.
on. You could have pulled a better film than that.
It's a good movie. It's a dumb movie. It's a stupid
I
movie.
agree. I
but it's a
actually
good
agree
movie.
with Matt on this.
Thank you. And then there's that one that came out last year. That was surprisingly good too. Like I was
Which one?
surprised.
Greenland?
Greenland. Yeah, I was surprised.
I heard. I haven't seen it, but
It was good.
Yeah.
It's a legit good movie. But no. Anyway, the trailer, Soho. Sorry. I forgive you, Chris, now because you said Greenland was a good movie. But Soho. Sorry, Gerard Butler's beautiful vocals got me like all mixed up.
Matt, take care of it.
It's good though.
Later. Come on, go.
So I think the movie looks about as good as Russell Crowe's vocals, which is good. It looks really good. I don't know 100% what's going on in this movie. I'm a little confused. I'm a little scared. Is this like a scary movie? Like, is that what we're going for?
A horror movie.
Which is so weird and not, what I would expect him to direct. So
no. And I think that's a great point. I like that this is something that is out of his wheelhouse because I think everything he's done, whether it's horror inflicted, action inflicted, whatever At World's End was, it's definitely always been comedy driven. Like even Baby Driver, which isn't a straight up comedy, had a lot of these kooky characters with these crack whip lines and John Barenthal's weird cameo and it's got all these great, it's got great moments in it that are very funny. This seems like something that's just straight up going for, oh God, Pierce Brosnan, he's worse.
I'm gonna put you in a timeout, Chris, if you keep throwing out horrible takes. Just saying.
Pierce Brosnan singing Mamma Mia is not something I ever thought I needed. What's worse than that is the shirt they had him in while he's singing. I don't know why you dressed him like Jack Sparrow on Tortuga in that film, but it's just all around.
No, I agree. I agree with Aaron. He should have been shirtless.
Yeah,
yes.
Should have been shirtless while singing.
He's not a bad
Give him long hair.
He's doing all right.
I mean, I'm a little upset that you guys haven't mentioned the main point of this. I mean, we got the Weasleys are back together. I mean, this
You're right. True. Oliver Phelps are in this.
You've got a film. You got the film with the Weasleys in it. You've got General Zod. You got bloody what's the name from Queen's Gambit? Like, I mean, this is a pretty interesting looking sort of film. I had no idea it was a horror.
Yeah. I
genuinely had no idea. The fact that it's a horror makes me think, okay, so she probably died and she's hallucinating everything. Cool. All right, don't need to see it now.
I will
anyway, guys, I've got to jump off. So, thanks for having me on. Yeah, have a good one.
All right, you too.
I will say between Anya Taylor-Joy, Matt Smith, and Terrence Stamp, this is the most interesting looking cast I've seen in a while. Everybody's like, "Oh, you've got that look."
Right.
But yeah,
True.
So we'll go ahead and move on to the last trailer, then we'll get to something else. But our trailer roundup concludes with the debut trailer for Marvel's Eternals. The film, which is directed by recent Best Director winner Chloe Zhao, focuses on the alien race known as the Eternals, who secretly lived on Earth for over 7,000 years. However, when Earth is left without the Avengers following Avengers Endgame, the Eternals must reunite to take on a new threat, the Deviants. The trailer shows off tons of beautiful shots and the film's large ensemble, which is led by Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Kumail Nanjiani, and Angelina Jolie. The movie releases in theaters on November 5th, 2021. So this one was shots, the trailer. This gave me no story whatsoever. This was just beautiful shot, beautiful shot, beautiful shot over and over again. It was good. I liked it. I liked the shots. It's a big-ass cast, and we saw a lot of it. But once again, I did think Marvel executed the what's become tradition now over the last few years, which is their end of trailer stinger. I did like so who's going to lead the Avengers now without Iron Man and Captain America around? I like that. That was funny. But yeah, it was fine. I'll be more invested when I know more about it. I mean, right now I know as much as Jon Snow does, and he also looks like he knows nothing in this film for his one shot. So, yeah, it looks fine.
Yeah, I mean, like for a first trailer, that's kind of what I expected. It's one of those ones that I kind of, if this is the only trailer we get of it, I'm not going to be unhappy about it because I like going in sort of and being intrigued about what the story's going to look like. We all know we're probably going to get another trailer close to release.
At least one more I can see, yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's one of those ones that the fact that they're starting, most years are getting comfortable releasing trailers so far out again because it just gives promise that it's not going to be pushed back anymore because like vaccinations are rolling out, theaters are opening up, and all that. So things are slowly starting to get back to normal, especially if you look at keep an eye. Follow the box office, because the box office is starting looking healthier than it has been in ever since COVID and that started. So,
yeah, I mean, right now, and I don't even know what Corella's numbers on, but right now, A Quiet Place is currently on track to get close to or break 60 million, which is incredible.
Yeah, and the first one made 50 million too, opening weekend.
So if it beats its own record during COVID or even comes close, that's great.
And I mean, Corella's on track for 27 too.
Yeah, which is good numbers considering it is on Premier Access, as well.
27 million alone is almost as big as the highest weekend we've had since COVID, which was 34 for Godzilla vs. Kong. So that's still incredible when going up against A Quiet Place.
Yeah. And to bring up Chris's.
I got you next week, Grant. I'll give you 10 minutes next week. I'll book it into the show.
I wanted it.
But to bring up Chris's point, I think it's only a matter of time before we get a trailer for No Way Home, because Eternals is coming out in November, I believe. No Way Home is set for December, so
November 7th.
So maybe in a couple of weeks, we will get a first trailer for No Way Home as well. Because at this point it's only a matter of time. We're just getting inundated with trailers at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if one's come out and it was just missed us, and we go find us like it's sitting there, just like laughing. I was like, I've been here this whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. Matt, any thoughts on the trailer?
For Eternals, I thought it was all right. Didn't really do anything for me. Cast looks cool. Has some pretty shots. I did like the ending of the trailer, actually, where they were joking around like, well, now who's going to lead the Avengers? And he's like, well, I'll lead them. And they all kind of laughed because, don't want trailer for No Way Home, make it all up in the air. We said Marvel did it. I'm expecting one Tuesday. As Aaron is frozen, smiling. He's happy. He's happy with that. Because he's on there. We'll leave him on there smiling. But no, I thought the trailer was fine. It really didn't do anything for me. Cast looks cool. You could totally tell by the first shot, it's a Chloe Zhao movie. You could totally tell she directed this thing.
Yeah, I mean, even this is one that I did think was surprising, was the fact that they didn't mention that Chloe Zhao directed this at all. But I suppose from when we were talking about the Oscar, I can't remember when it was, but I think it is so they can market it in China, because I know China just really, for whatever reason, does not like Chloe Zhao.
They're not a fan of hers.
No, but it's
we'll get is in America we'll get a version of the trailer that just says from a Best Director winner.
Yeah, but I think she said something like how China's ran and
Yeah,
China
she
didn't
talked
like
about
that.
oppression in China, and China responded by attempting to oppress her.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, well, that's the thing. There's like, they they didn't cover the Oscars for that same reason, so they're probably not going to put any. So Marvel's probably not going to put anything in the trailer that's going to hint that it was Closeout that directed it, because they'll probably even leave out probably best director Oscar winner, which is sad, but it's in reality, this is what's going to happen. I mean, I'm honestly surprised we didn't get like a trailer that was tailored for American audiences and one specifically for China. But
Yeah.
They're still
Now, and Grant is right. You know, in the comments he put China actually did ban Eternals. So, I mean, they could market it with Chloe Zhao still, but it's banned currently, unless they change it.
well, I didn't know if it was banned. I
think that and maybe Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi. I think that's also potentially.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like going to Grant's comment about not wanting a trailer for No Way Home. It's one of those ones that until Marvel actually officially confirms if anyone's there, because I think if they sort of say these people are in the movie, you're not going to get a trailer, but these people are in the movie, then it could be an interesting way to market something without having to do a trailer. Because Marvel's only finally just released, just confirmed that Oscar Isaac is playing Moon Knight. So,
right.
Hello, I'm back. I didn't want to yell at my house, so I walked out to the garage. What the hell was that trailer? The fact of the matter is, technically, Malcolm is right. They haven't officially banned Chloe Zhao's movie or Shang-Chi, but it's not on any of their releases. They put out there what they're going to have in cinemas, and it's not there. You cannot Google her name and her Oscar in China. They have completely non-person to her. The trailer itself was utter garbage. I mean, they wanted to shoot it in natural light, but it was purely and simply, it was just the most boring shots. You're talking about the Eternals. These are the people, the creatures that are essentially responsible for powers within the universe, or especially on Earth with the mutants. But that's neither here nor there.
potentially.
And here's the thing: we don't interfere. Let's just show the next 4 minutes of us interfering and doing stuff. It's just
they don't interfere till now.
Yeah, they say until now. I mean, obviously the Thanos snapping half of them wasn't big enough, but yeah, I mean, to me it seems like it's a bit of a weird sort of thing. You finally get a black Captain America, and now they've got to interfere. It's a bit racist from all these, hyper elite white people. I mean, and the fact that you've got I mean, the one I'm looking forward to is Sprite. I mean, because even though it's supposed to be a man, but that's neither here nor there. They've gender changed a lot, which is essentially like their version of a Loki, someone who likes to play tricks and everything. And then you got with Icarus, who is the head, but not really, depending on what version that they're going with. There's so many different versions they can go with, but they didn't give us any information. No. That was the biggest thing. And the fact of the matter is, this they called it a trailer, and then when people complained, they said, no, this is just a teaser. Then they changed it from trailer to teaser.
Right. Which is a marketing error. That's on the person who uploaded it for fucking that up.
And the fact of the matter, I mean, this is maybe it's a small gripe. Don't call him Captain Rogers. It's Captain America. Captain Rogers. He was never known. That was just so freaking cringe. And the fact if Icarus wants to, leave the Avengers, he could. I mean, I think they're laughing because he tried to take over that. Or actually, he was the previous head before they had the Overmind in and got kicked out. But I mean, once again, the perfect scenario of you see Jon Snow looking like he doesn't know a single freaking thing that's going on. I'm like, oh, there you go. It's perfect that way. But the fact of the matter is, you have an Oscar award-winning director who was huge in China for obvious reasons, and then they found something that she did when she was 18 or something, and now she's been unpursed and they're not doing anything. I don't think you don't need to cater stuff to China. Like Michael said, why don't they do a trailer for this one, a trailer for that one? No, because then they're going to hold everything to that. China has this chokehold on cinema when they're not even giving the amount of money. It's just because they're a new market. There's the potential because the amount of people, and that's all it is. And
movies that can succeed in China have a better chance at making $1 billion. There's a reason Fast and Furious has $2 billion entries, and it's not because the U.S. woke up and said, "Oh, Paul Walker died. Let's go see this movie." Because China got involved.
Yeah. I
also want to officially said I said that Taiwan was a country, so allow me to talk, Mandarin for the next 10 minutes to explain why that's not. I mean, the whole John Cena thing, you can get fucked with that, but
I left that out for a reason. That's a whole. That's
the kowtowing down to it, because you've got a director who is a legitimate Oscar award-winning, and they should be pumping the fact. She earned it. Here's the thing. Even if she didn't, it's irrelevant. She has it. She's an Oscar winner. That's what they need to be promoting. If they want to say that they're all promoting diversity and everything like that, do that. You have the perfect thing, but they can't because China doesn't want them to. So therefore, they won't do a single thing about it. It's ridiculous. Because you have something like, the Eternals is something. It's very niche. It was something that I only got into after I heard a few years ago that they're actually going to be doing Eternals. I went, "What that fucking Icarus? Okay, all right, I'll find out a bit more about it." Someone who reads comics, it was still pretty abstract to me. But the reason why they picked that is because
this is the new Guardians. This is only deep nerds have really heard of this, and this is even deeper than Guardians, it seems.
Oh, right. Here's the thing. The Eternals, two of the Eternals are the grandparents of Thanos.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a weird sort of stretch. There's a huge power struggle. There's the Eternals, then there's the Deviants.
Right.
So essentially, you got your two factions fighting over the powers of Earth. Whichever way Earth gets consumed, destroyed, or saved, depending on what more people do on Earth. And that's the way in which that they were going for it. But they're probably going to go for a completely different spin of the story on it. But you've got such a rich hit. I don't think I've ever seen a cast like that has so many big names, especially if this came out when it was supposed to.
Yeah.
But
right.
I'm purely hoping that these shots aren't the stuff that we're going to go to the cinemas, because you do not want to see something that's a completely overexposed background and underexposed foreground, because they wanted to shoot it on natural light. They're dealing with a $200+ million project. Like,
yeah.
If this is what we're going to be shown and what we're going to be seeing, I think this is going to be Marvel's biggest flop, based purely and simply on the fact that it doesn't look like a Marvel. It's not pretty. At least one thing you can say about Marvel, whether their stories are crash or they look fun, they look entertaining, they look pretty. This is just like, we're going to take the Joker color palette to it and try and put it to a Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a Kirby hypercolor freaking panels that they're going to try and recreate, and you're never going to be able to do that with this color palette. So that's my I heard you on there, and I just didn't want to swear too much, so I calmed down a bit.
Okay. No, I don't think this is going to be, making as much money as like the first Guardians even. I think this is going to make around what like Ant-Man, Doctor Strange, somewhere in that ballpark, because unless this movie is a lot funnier than what I feel like it's going to be, I think it's going to be really hard to market it like a Guardians of the Galaxy. I think the reason why the first one did as well as it did was because of the marketing alone. I don't think it even was because of the Marvel name. I think it was just marketing, and this one might do better because of the name, but there's got to be something in there. If it's not going to be hilarious or anything, there's got to be some really cool stuff that you can pull in and show in the trailer.
But even that joke was an inside joke. That was the weird part. It was an inside joke because he tried to lead the Eternals. He didn't get to do that. So now it's like, well, I could lead that, and they're all having a laugh at his expense.
Right.
Because it's like, you don't want to lead these people. These are human people. These are beneath us.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
we'll go ahead and move it on up. So, Matt, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the DC stuff now. We'll save Aaron Taylor Craven and all the Sony stuff for next week. We'll make that the start of next week's show. But we'll go ahead because DC has had a lot of announcements come out over the last few weeks. But I took probably the biggest and the best of them. See ya, Grant. And we'll use those for the last few minutes of the show here before we end for the night. As I play around here. All right, let's get into it. So when J.J. Abrams signed a production deal with DC Films, many people assumed, especially with rumors swirling around his new Superman film and his history of working with big-budget productions, that he'd be the next big filmmaker to work with DC. However, the director revealed this week, after it was previously rumored he had a short list for his Superman film that includes the likes of Barry Jenkins and Shaka King, that he actually has no interest in directing for DC. He further elaborated by saying that he has enjoyed his experience so far working with them as a producer and looks forward to helping make more content for others to work on. But at the moment, he doesn't feel like he wants to direct again until he has a concept he feels is, quote, truly original and unique to work on. It is worth noting that out of Abrams' 6 directorial efforts, only 1 has been an original concept in Super 8, and even that was very clearly inspired by 80s Spielberg films. So it'll be interesting to see what original concept he brings next when he decides to step back into a director's chair.
Right.
The Hollywood Reporter confirmed this week that directing duo Adil and Bilal, full names Adil El Arbi and Bilal Fallah, have been brought on board to work on the resurrected Batgirl project. The movie was originally in development years ago, but was canned in 2018 when director and co-writer Joss Whedon stepped away from the project following Justice League failures. Adil and Bilal are best known for their work on 2020's Bad Boys for Life, and they just finished up work as lead directors on Ms. Marvel for Disney. This is the second project they currently have in active development, as they are also working with Eddie Murphy to produce Beverly Hills Cop 4. The duo will bring back the film's original co-writer Christina Hodson, who wrote the scripts for Bumblebee and Birds of Prey, back on board, and the 3 will continue on the same script where Hodson and Whedon left off. It is worth noting that following this report, a rumor was circulated that apparently DC insiders are discussing moving the film to HBO versus a theatrical release, although this is yet to be confirmed. Back in 2018, fresh off the success of Teen Titans Go to the Movie, DC announced that an animated film based on its Super Pets was in development, but many assumed it was a joke and would live in the same hell where many DC films go to die. Well, The Rock doesn't care what you think, because it's not, and it was announced last week that the film, now titled DC's League of Super Pets, is in active development for theatrical release. The movie will be made by DC's animated division and will be co-produced by 7 Bucks Productions, which is owned by none other than Dwayne Johnson. Johnson has also joined the cast of the movie, voicing Crypto the Superdog. The report also includes the confirmation that the character Streaky the Super Cat will be involved, and many assume Ace the Bat Hound is a guaranteed appearance. The movie is currently being animated and is set for release on May 20th, 2022. And finally, HBO Max confirmed some big news last week for DC's projects of their own. First up, Batman Caped Crusader was announced. The new animated show will be produced and show ran by Bruce Timm, best known for his work on Batman the Animated Series, as well as he'll be working with producer J.J. Abrams and the Batman director Matt Reeves. Another animated show being worked on by that same animation team is My Adventures with Superman, which will focus on Clark Kent's formative years. The announcement also came with a pair of stars attached, as The Boys' Jack Quaid was cast as Superman, with Alice Lee cast as his Lois Lane. And finally, actor Jeremy Irvine, known for Warhorse and the recently canceled Treadstone, is in talks to join Finn Wittrock as a part of the cast of the Green Lantern series. If he joins, Irvine will portray the second of the 4 cast leads in the form of Alan Scott's Green Lantern. Alan Scott is most known as being the original Green Lantern even before Hal Jordan, and his interpretation of the character in the show will also be the first LGBTQ Green Lantern shown on screen, as Alan Scott will be gay. All right.
Okay.
So a lot to kind of get into there. Matt, I'll go to you first. Which of those stories kind of stands out to you as we begin to wrap up the show?
I would go to Malcolm because I really don't care about any of these.
Fair enough. Malcolm.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those ones that, first off, I'm pretty sure all this DC news came out because they were just what? Oh shit! The news about Warner Media and all that's coming out. Let's give some good news. And like, look over here. Look at nothing over here. Nothing. But that being said, there really isn't a lot in here that interests me either. Like I talked about it on late night as well. I kind of wish they went for an inside joke with League of Super Pets and got Henry Cavill's Crypto the Super Dog and Ben Affleck as Ace the Bat Hound. It's like just to rub salt in the wound. Like, well, you're not going to get Henry Cavill as Superman anymore. But we've got one better. He's going to be Crypto the Super Dog.
That'd be rubbing salt in Henry Cavill's wound. Christ.
So look, I know we announced we're gonna have a different Superman on your birthday, but hey, you could play a dog if you want.
Yeah. So to quickly run through it, like Super Pets is one of those. Like I remember when that was announced, and I just remember thinking, like, really? But hey, if this is prioritized over the Trench, sure. Whatever, man. At this point, I don't care. As long as they make good stuff, I don't really care what it is. Out of the rest of it, I like the Adil and Bilal choice. As I've said before on the show, Bad Boys for Life was far fucking better than it had any right to be. So I'm all behind those guys getting more work. I'm excited for Ms. Marvel. If Beverly Hills 4 gets off the ground, I'm excited for what their take could be on it. And I'm excited for them to take on Batgirl, because I think it could be a really interesting project. I like that they're bringing Christina Hodson back, because her concept getting shoved in the ground is kind of just an unfortunate byproduct of Joss Whedon being Joss Whedon. So I'm glad that they're kind of going, okay, there was something here, let's resurrect that and go from there. So that could be good. And then the Green Lantern series is something I'm interested in, because I think Green Lantern could be really good if you make a good interpretation of it. And I like, he's not an actor who's done a lot that he stands out in, but every time I see him in something, I like him. He's not a bad actor. He's just never had that role that will like pick you to his head. Like even what should have been his big role, which for people who don't know, Jason Bourne had a television show called Treadstone, and Jeremy Irvine was the star. And you don't know about it because no one watched it, and it got canned after one season. And apparently it was fine, but it's one of those things that kind of, it happened. And so, yeah, it just unlucky for him. I don't know much about Alan Scott outside of the fact that he was the first Green Lantern. If you want to make him gay, cool. I'm all whatever. I'm all for it. Sure. If Ryan Reynolds can hit on women, then this guy can hit on men.
Yeah.
Cool.
No.
I mean, I'm pretty sure Alan Scott was always gay in the comics.
Oh, was he? Cool. Then that's even better. They're using a character who was then brilliant. That shows you how much I know about him. I just knew what I read. So
I mean, if Grant was in, you'll have to tell us.
Good for him. And then So all right. So we got a couple of minutes here. I'll throw out some.
Real quick.
I'll throw out three more quick ones here. Go ahead.
Real quick, so we can move on from the thing. I actually think J.J. Abrams and Warner Brothers, it's a perfect fit when it comes to DC, because both don't know how to stick to a plan, and they're very reactionary.
I mean, didn't J.J. Abrams just come out and say he wished he had a plan?
He did. He came out and said...
What did he say?
He basically said that he wished they had a plan, or maybe we should actually have a plan for movies. It's like, wouldn't that be something, huh?
To be fair, JJ stuck to his plan. He just took a nice piss and dump on Ryan Johnson's while he was at it. That's what happened.
Well, I mean, it's one of those ones. I think JJ had a plan. I think it's one of those ones. I don't think JJ had a clear-cut plan. I think he knew where he wanted to go. Ryan Johnson took his ideas, took them and raised them, and like Jay was like, Right, how am I going to get this back to where I want it to end?
Yeah. All right, so here we go. I got 3 more quick ones I'll throw at you, and then we'll wrap up because we're at the 2-hour mark now. So, and I'll go ahead and throw out a picture to go with this first story. But this week, Sony released the first still for the upcoming Uncharted film. The still shows Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg looking like Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg while playing Nathan Drake and Sully from the video games. The movie, which is directed by Ruben Fleischer, will release on February 18th, 2022. This week, Spider-Verse had a new Spider-Man rumored for the sequel. The movie, which has already confirmed the return of Shamik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, Oscar Isaac, and an uncast Japanese Spider-Man, that are confirmed, has been reported that voice actor Christopher Daniel Barnes will be reprising his role as Spider-Man from the 1990s series. The studio hasn't officially commented, but tweets from many in the community who may know Barnes, including fellow Spider-Man voice actor Josh Keaton, seem to say that this may be true. And finally, the Highlander reboot has finally taken a step forward when Deadline confirmed this week that Henry Cavill has been cast in the lead role. The movie, which has John Wick's Chad Stahelski attached to direct, has been in development hell for over 10 years, but this duo's passion seems to be the thing that could reignite it. Cavill is also no stranger to franchises. He's already played Superman, Sherlock Holmes, starred in the reboot of The Man from U.N.C.L.E., was in a Mission Impossible film, and is the star of The Witcher for Netflix. So fuck it. What's one more franchise on the docket? The movie currently doesn't have a release date.
But yeah, apparently
so
it's
this picture. Yeah, like, look, I think the movie could be fine. I think Ruben Fleischer is a very hit or miss director, but the worst I think he's been is okay. Like, I think Venom's okay, if not inconsistent. I think 30 Minutes or Less is inconsistent. No, he did Gangster Squad. Gangster Squad's pretty bad. But the Zombieland movies are really good. So he's all over the board. I hope this is good. But yeah, like, they have made no attempt to make them look anything different than Tom Holland and Mark Wahlberg. And I know that they're meant to be younger versions of their game characters, but these guys won't age into those people. I mean, Mark Wahlberg has shown recently with pictures from another set that he can grow a beard and shave his head, but clearly not for this movie. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Or do you want to go to another one?
Well, I mean, Sully's not bald in the Uncharted games. So I've actually started replaying them.
Is he not? I thought he was.
No, Sully's got grey hair with a moustache. I think you're thinking of a different character.
Yeah.
I might be. Let's get a bit closer on them. There they go.
But this proves that Uncharted is happening. Has something been filmed.
By the way, they have completed production on this movie. This is the first time we're getting any inkling that actually happened.
And apparently in some random Sony video thing, we actually...
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
They actually had a quick footage of this as well. I did not watch it. I started watching it. I was like, this is boring. It didn't actually bother waiting to see what this footage was going to be of Uncharted.
I did not watch the whole Sony promotional video. What I did was the article that I had happened to have a picture of the woman who was speaking when they did it, so I just found her in the video and waited for it to show up.
So I will say, first off, a lot of video game movies suck because they try to follow the game essentially, or try to go way too far. And this, for one, I don't care if Mark Wahlberg's like 40 something. Okay.
To be fair, I will say though, I will say, for as much as, and Malcolm, you're playing the games, what is Sully's relationship to Nathan Drake? Are they buddies? Are they related?
They're not related. Sully's more the friend.
Mentor.
I like.
Okay.
In
the I was gonna
game,
say, honestly, in this pic, with the way, like, maybe it's just the way they're dressed, the way their hair's done, like, Wahlberg looks like Holland's cool uncle. Like,
right now, look, with Rupert Fleischer, though, he's a little hit or miss. Like I said, he directed Zombieland. Of course, he directed Venom.
Was that the Eminem song?
That was the Eminem. Venom.
Venom.
Knock, knock, let the devil in. He directed that, which, I've came to the conclusion, it's if it was released in the 90s, it'd be a fun 90s, type movie.
Right, yeah, it feels like
that's what it is. It's not trying to be like anything like Iron Man or some of these movies. But for me, everybody's like, oh my God, I hate that Tom Holland was casted as Nathan Drake. For one, this opens up the possibility that if this movie ends up being a hit and success and whatnot, we can get more than just 3 movies. Because a lot of people are, riding the boner of, oh, we need to, cast somebody older. Like Mark Wahlberg was, rumored at one point to be in there. I think Bradley Cooper was at one point casted as Nathan Drake. What's his face? Everybody's favorite nerd. That he's in the first Guardians movie.
Nathan Fillion is 50.
Yeah, Nathan Fillion. Yeah, there was years ago where it's everybody had this hard-on boner to get Nathan Fillion as Nathan Drake. It's oh my God, he'd be so perfect. And he could have been good and all, but this
Bradley
movie...
Cooper is 46, although in the picture on his Wikipedia for A Star Is Born, he looks about 60.
Yeah, but he was rumored, or I think he was actually casted, and this was years ago. This wasn't lately. This was maybe 7,
Mark Wahlberg is 49.
So there you go. So Chris Diaz, Sully is 40 in the flashback. Mark Wahlberg is, he fits that. But look, this isn't supposed to take place right when the first game is. This is clearly back in the day, doing their whole thing. Everybody wants it to be exactly like the first game. Guess what? If it is, either one, it's going to be a good movie, but, we know exactly how we'll play beat by beat, or we'll suck.
So what they're taking inspiration from, and they haven't said they're directly adapting it, but what inspired the approach to the film wasn't actually the first game. It's in the third game. Yeah. There's a prequel section where he is a kid. It kind of, I think it was an attempt by the games to emulate Indiana Jones, have the third one begin with him younger. But that's what they're emulating for this film is, okay, let's go to an age where we can make a franchise with him.
Yeah, and I mean it's one of those ones
Listen, Mark Wahlberg can care for people as long as they're not Asian.
Have you seen Mark Wahlberg? Have you seen Pain and Gain or any of the movies he's in? He's sarcastic, okay, and he makes inappropriate jokes. Just watch Pain and Gain.
But I mean, it's one of those ones I think a lot of problems with video game movies is they've tried to completely adapt the games. Yeah. Which clearly this is not what they're doing. They are trying to take their own thing. And I mean, this and the Borderlands games kind of give me hopes that a lot of video game movies are going to start sort of taking the approach of, let's do a movie set in the universe that's not so much telling the story that we've already seen in the games.
Right. I love that Borderlands, the movie, is doing the same thing that the games did, where it's it's a crew of 4 to 6 people going on a mission. But I love that the reason's different and the characters aren't the same. Out of the 6 people they listed as the people going on this adventure, only 2 of them were actually playable characters from the game.
Right.
So I like that it's yes, we're gonna be inspired by the game and we're gonna take elements from the game, but we're gonna repurpose them to fit the story we want to tell in this universe. Because at the end of the day, and no matter how cinematic your game is, even it came up in the chat, The Last of Us is a very cinematic game. No game story is built the same way a film story is. You have to adapt, you have to change, because game stories are built to allow for large portions of time of you controlling it. You have to readapt that for a movie. And that's where so many films failed, is they don't know how to readapt it, or they do shit like Doom where they don't know how to readapt it, so they just throw in gimmicky sections.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Doom is a movie that I enjoy.
It serves my purpose, but that's the best scene of the film. So
And I mean, it's one of those ones like there's some moves that tried to do something different from the games and failed. Like,
and let me just say to our comment section, if The Last of Us is giving you hope, have hope for Borderlands. Craig Mazine's involved with both.
Yeah.
But I mean, it like there's some. Like, admittedly, there are some video game moves that try to do something different to the games, but try to keep that feel. Because Assassin's Creed is a big example. They tried to do something different that the games hadn't done. They just executed it poorly.
No.
I think that is something that could have been.
Assassin's Creed to me is the biggest example of like most video game movies to date fall apart in the adaptation and conception part. When you look at something like Super Mario or one of the Street Fighter films, or let's go something a little more recent. Let's go with like that bad Ratchet and Clank film that came out a few years ago. Mm-hmm. From conception, just how you're attempting to adapt it is where your problem lies. Assassin's Creed and Michael Fassbender and Justin Kurzel approached it from the correct angle. They had the right idea. That movie got butchered during production. I don't know how you fucked that one up that bad, but you did. And unfortunately, that probably makes people a little weary. I'd say Warcraft as well was a great example of, I think this is how you take the mythos of something and create its own thing out of it. But again, Duncan Jones went through multiple family tragedies while making that film. The fact that that movie's watchable is a miracle. And I think if those two films had been better, we would have gotten to this point a lot quicker and a lot more confidently. But we haven't, so now we're going at the pace that we're at.
But yeah, I don't know if you've got this plan for next week, but I'm going to touch on it now because Chris has actually brought it up in the chat. It's really, I find it interesting that they're bringing the voice actress back for the Last of Us TV series.
So I'm going to be real with you. I didn't look at TV news this week because there was so much movie news, so I missed this completely. I don't know what it is. Do you know?
Basically, it's the voice actress that played. I'm trying to get that character up now, but she's coming back to play that same character in the TV series as well.
Okay, is she a real actress?
As far as I know, she's not. As far as I know, this is her first time being an on-screen actress.
I hope they auditioned her.
Yeah, true.
Merle Dandridge will play Marlene.
Yeah.
All right, what's her credits?
I don't know.
Dandridge, there she is. All right, what's she been in?
Let's see.
Oh, she's performed on Broadway before. No, that's cool. Okay. No. Oh, no. She's had recurring roles on multiple television series, including Sons of Anarchy, The Night Shift, and The Flight Attendant. She was also the lead role in the show Greenleaf. Okay, so no, she actually has acted on screen before. It just so happened she was a part of the game too.
Cool.
Okay, I mean, so that makes total sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones. I think with the way they did Last of Us, they actually had real actress sort of mocap and stuff, similar to what they did with Ellen Page in that video game that she was in.
Elliot Page.
Beyond.
Elliot Page.
Oh, yep. So
Beyond Two Souls. To be fair,
I just wanted to clear that before somebody said something.
In that game, that character is a cisgender woman. So
yeah, true.
It's kind of the
Yeah.
Right. But
actually, hold up. We'll Malcolm, finish your point. Sorry, I'll get to this in a second.
I mean, it's one of those ones. I know Last of Us had a little bit of controversy with Elliot Page because a lot of people, because I think they used her his likeness.
The character is like clearly based on him.
Yeah, yeah,
like very, very clearly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'll answer this one last question, and then we'll go ahead and close out because I don't think any of us have seen it. but because of my situation, my brother has been watching the show live the whole time. So you can also answer this question.
Yeah.
Can you, because my brother watched A Quiet Place yesterday to watch the sequel. Can you watch it without having seen the first one?
It pretty much picks up immediately after the first one.
So yes or no?
Probably not, no.
Probably not. What do you think, Matt?
I think you can watch the second one, but if you have no idea, that's spoilers. John Krasinski's character dies in the first one because they do show the flashback. Like they show the flashback that they show in the trailer.
Film, right?
Yeah, it opens on the date, so it.
Okay, yeah. So like, if you don't
movie.
realize he's all so Chris, tell your dad that Krasinski died and that the opening's a flashback and he'll be
Because I think you could follow it because it takes place immediately after, but it does. It obviously continues, but it's its own story. But there's other things like with the daughter, the thing we discover with her earpiece. That's a pretty important part.
And that's part of the first one too. The implant, right? That's a part of the first one too.
Yeah. So there's things like that you have to know, and then obviously the baby.
So here's what I'd say, Diaz. If you have the time, rent it on Amazon, show it to him, and then take him to get his pants scared shitless in a theater because the movie's apparently incredible. Yeah,
so it's really, really good. I'm watching it tomorrow again, so I'll be able to kind of decide if I think it's better than the first or not. But I'm leaning on the first being better so far.
Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in and watching, whether you were here live with us at some point throughout the show or you watch this on the replay. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next week, we will have kind of a bit of a fun announcement, a little bit of a change to the show going forward. We're bringing in some new blood that will be here a little more often, which is exciting, and we'll have that next week for you guys. But with that said, thank you to these two gentlemen for joining me. Malcolm, where can the good people find you? Plug your stuff, bro.
You can find me over on Tape Free Productions, where I host Rankum every Saturday night. We just before this, we did top 12 movies by actor turned directors. In honor of A Quiet Place Part 2, funny enough. You can find me hosting Late Night Tape Free. It will be back not tomorrow, but the week after. You can also find me on Full Metal Media, where I host Full Metal Classic on Sundays, and also Full Metal Random, which is going to be on Sunday as well. Random will be at 4 p.m. Eastern, and Classic is at 6 p.m. Eastern.
Absolutely. Matt, where can people find you?
So, I mean, if you got into my house right now, you can find me looking at my phone, and there's a video called How to Properly Take Care of Your Balls. It's a very interesting video. It's a guy holding tennis balls. But outside of that, I'll answer real quick. I've not seen it tonight, Chris. You can find me, of course, on the channel. I'm on the show, surprisingly. Guess what? I'm here. It's every Saturday, which, guess what? Well, technically, my time, it's Sunday, but it's Saturday. And you can also find me on the Canceled the Show show we have with Alan. We talk politics, all that good stuff. And then, of course, you can find me on my other channel, Inside the Horseshoe Podcast. It's a lot of fun. Look at all this stuff. Look at all these videos. It's been a lot of fun. So if you guys are into football, then check that out.
Absolutely. And on behalf of Grant, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. On behalf of Alan, thank you so much for joining us tonight, man. And for everything on the channel, let me speed plug everything quickly. Be sure tomorrow to check out the Supernova Show. All of your geekiest pleasures and desires are discussed, so be sure to check that out at noon EST on Mondays. We normally should have Schmo Talks. It should be back this Monday. I've had an editing fiasco. All good stuff. I've learned a lot, but it's been a lot. So that should be back this Monday, back from its hiatus. And don't worry, it won't be going anywhere anytime soon because I have a full schedule already recorded for the next number of weeks. So we're already good. I've been making use of this awful time. Tuesday afternoons, we have Canceled This Show. If, God forbid, politics is something you want to watch online, Matt Beer and Alan Shepard get down on all the latest in that. And, again, I'd be remiss without saying every week After Dark is at 9 o'clock EST. Tune in for all the latest movie news and hijinks. And, of course, more on Movie Battleground will be coming in the near future. As I say every time I speak, the competitors who watch this, you will learn your stuff first. then the public will find out as we get ready to kind of gear up and begin recording. But with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and check out everything we have going forward. Thank you for watching. On behalf of everyone, my name is Aaron Knoll, and we'll see you guys next time.